What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited you are here. We're gonna learn together. This is the Tarver Academy Summer Professional Development. We're gonna learn. Learning's happening. It's going down today. We're about to get started. My name is Tyler. I run Tarver Academy. It's an online resource for teachers and students and educators, and it's a great community where people just get involved and learn and get better. And I throw resources to you guys, throw ideas around. It's just a lot of fun. Just a whole lot of fun, Tarver Academy. So if you need anything, I'm here. TarverAcademy.com has a ton of resources and things that you can go to check out. A little bit about me, just so you know, you don't think I'm just like, hey, here's a random YouTuber talking about, videos or whatever. My name's Tyler. I started out teaching high school math, and then I moved into a tech director / facilitator role. Then I was a principal of a school, 6th through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade. Fun ages. That's good stuff, okay? Good stuff. Never any drama, 6th through 12th grade. No drama. And our school had waivers from the state, so we did a lot of online, we did a lot of blended, we did a lot of in-person learning, all the above. So we get to learn a lot, make some mistakes, do some stuff right, and try to learn from everything we did. Then after that, I went to central office, and I was director of curriculum instruction, and now I'm the dean of NLC College. And I'm so excited to be here, learning and growing with you guys. I'm also giving a little bit of time for people to jump in, get started, and we're about to go through some of the housekeeping stuff. We're gonna do a little check-in right now at the beginning, and then at the end of this video, at the end of this training, we're going to have a chance for you to get a certificate showing that you actually showed up and you did the learning, okay? I think that this training and the other trainings that you are gonna get the chance to be a part of this summer are gonna help you grow as an educator. And if you grow as an educator, all it does is help the students and the community that you live in. And so let's try our best to learn something, take something away from this that we can put in our repertoire and get better with. Okay, so the first thing I need you guys to do is I need us to check in, okay? And this check-in, what it does is it timestamps when you are here so that you might not need this later, but if your administrator or whoever comes back and they're like, how do I know you didn't just click to the end? This shows that you were here at the beginning. So you can scan the QR code that is on the screen if you have your cell phone. And on my phone with me, get your phone out. I'll use my wallet, Atlanta Braves wallet. Film that, you just hold your phone over that QR code that you see on the screen. You'll see something pop up at the top. Click that and it'll take you to where you can fill out that you were here. It's very short, very quick. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to do that right now. Go ahead, scan the QR code, go to the website, check in, and when you do that, you will get an email. If you do not get an email immediately, this happened, I told you, I was a tech director for a long time, okay? I'd say a long time. I was a tech director long enough to know that if you don't get that email that you're filling out right now, it's because you typed your email address in wrong. That's exactly what happens. 19 times out of 19 and a half times, that's what happens. So go ahead and go to that. Remember, at the end of this session, there's gonna be another QR code that you're gonna scan that is going to give you the certification saying that you actually did the training. Both of these are time-stamped. So if your administrator or whoever's in charge of PD for your district wants to see that and be like, how do I know you did this? You've got your check-in email that is time-stamped by me, not by you. It's into a PDF or it's into that email. And then you will also have the timestamp on your certificate showing that you did this. Okay, so hopefully everybody is getting that done. Y'all feel good? This little warm-up, we'll explain what's going on. Everybody feel good? 1 to 10. Put in the chat how you feel today. Or give me this, how about this? Give me an emoji of how you're feeling today. That'd be better, 1 to 10, or give me an emoji, I'd love to see it. Or just give me a word, you're like, I don't want to do an emoji. Give me a word, how you feeling today? And let's get rolling. Remember, input in the chat, take notes, learn, grow. Welcome to the best professional development that you're gonna do. Not guaranteed, but it's an opinion, but it's also true, but it might be biased, but it's gonna be a great summer. It's gonna be a great training. Hope you guys learn something. Hope this adds you value that you can then bring to your students and make your school, your community, yourself better in some way. Guys, we're about to get started. Y'all excited? Y'all ready? But do this. Let's get ready to learn and have fun. Tarver Academy. Let's go. Let's go. Hit it. Hit it. Let's go. What up, everybody? Hey, it's me, Tyler. Welcome to the Baller Teacher Conference. Look at us. We're really doing it. We're really doing it, guys. This is real life. Guys, are you excited? Are you hyped? I am so excited. We are going digital this year on the conference. I have some of the best educators I know, not only speaking and giving their thoughts and resources, we got some of the best educators in the world right here in the chats, watching the vid right now, live or later. So what is the Baller Teacher Conference? What is it for? What does it all mean, Basil? Today, we want to empower you to lead the culture in your classroom, adjust to teaching in a digital world, and foster a creative environment where everybody, teachers, students, and administrators, feel like they are a part of the learning. You might be asking yourself, Tyler, what is a baller teacher? What does that even mean? Well, in the comments right now, I want you to tell me what you think makes a baller teacher. And if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I don't know what baller means. What is a great teacher? What are the characteristics of teachers that you've admired throughout your life? Let me know right now in the comments. I can tell you what I think about it, but I would much rather you hear from a few of my friends. Take it away, guys.
Growing up, my parents always taught me about respect, and it's became one of my highest standards for literally anybody in life. And so to me, when it comes to what makes a baller teacher, what makes a good teacher, is someone who shows the same respect that they expect themselves to get. I just expect, I just want respect. That's really all it is. And if you show me the same respect that you expect me to show you, like, you're gonna be my favorite teacher. That's just how it is.
So what I think makes a baller teacher includes two things. So the first being compassion. With those students, you don't know what their past is necessarily or their present, and that goes for home life, academics, peers, etc. So definitely what they have been through will 100% affect how they interact with their peers, with their coursework, and with you. Secondly, I would say to be excited, because they can totally feel it, they know it, all of that if you're not excited. And that goes about being excited about teaching them specifically, the coursework, that particular lesson, etc. So also teaching with your hands, I'm a big fan.
Personally, my favorite teachers over the years were always the ones that had a sense of humor. So there's just something about laughing that makes you just breathe easy, you can absorb the material better, and I think it's just because you're not so stressed out. So that's just the power that laughter has, and I think, let your students know that, hey, they're gonna learn, you're gonna get the job done, but there's nothing wrong with being funny and enjoying yourself along the way. So that's my tip.
A baller teacher is someone who's nice, kind, and lets you do stuff that you want sometimes. But also a baller teacher is someone who teaches really well and obeys the rules of the principal. And a baller teacher is really nice, kind, and gives you stuff.
You keep asking everybody to define baller, and I'm going to need you to define if baller is a noun or an adjective. Like, am I baller already, or am I trying to be more baller? I need answers first.
I've taught 37 years, and I think a baller teacher is one that continues to learn and create a classroom atmosphere where all the kids feel comfortable asking questions. They know that they're cared for, and that their teacher, and they enjoy coming to that classroom, and that the teacher cares and so much for them. That is a baller teacher.
Like classroom teacher? Like
Yeah.
teacher, college teacher?
Yeah, or any type of person who teaches people.
Someone who's not just feeding me information, but feeding me information with relatable experiences, what they're talking about.
See that? That's how it's done, Josh Rawls.
Someone who's a baller teacher is someone who's willing to crumble up that lesson plan and hit that bucket from across the room.
A baller teacher is someone that is really kind, respects the principal, and also teaches you things. She can also
I think you're a really baller teacher if you're really personable. So like if you tell us about yourself, if you let us tell you about ourselves, then it shows that you care. And also if you make like a really clear layout of everything that's expected and all the deadlines way before, like way ahead of time, that's really great too, because you'll probably get more stuff turned in on time.
I think first of all, if you chose to go into education at all anyway, you're here watching this, you're already baller because you chose to serve students with your career, and that's pretty baller. But I think staying true to yourself and keeping kids at the forefront of your motivation and your intentions is what makes a baller teacher.
A baller teacher is smart and strict, but really appreciates when children are good.
So basically, being baller, which I think we've established as an adjective, means you work harder than everybody else and you like your kids. You just have to work hard every day and be nice to your students. I think that's the main two things.
Okay, so if you have not given your thoughts on what makes a baller teacher, put that in the chat right now. Now that leads me into 2 pieces of advice I have for you today. Okay, so if you're gonna go into this conference, I think you should go all in. Okay, so the first piece of advice is you're gonna get the chance to hear from some incredible educators today. Some of my friends, and I think they are fantastic and knowledgeable, and they're gonna hopefully give you some advice. Here's the deal. You are a fantastic educator as well. There is something about education, there's something about teaching or just living life that you know about. And this conference is going to be so much better if you give input in the chat. So in the chat today, the first piece of advice I give you is please be active in the chat. I want you to talk. I want you to give advice, give resources, give tips, ask questions, and then answer people's questions. You don't have to wait on one of the presenters or myself to answer a question. You're an educator. Put it in there. Give your thoughts. This is a collaborative environment. There's no right or wrong. It's about giving our thoughts, opinions, and experiences to where we can add value to someone else and in what they're doing and learning. And the second piece of advice I have for you is to follow the educators that are gonna be on here today. I'm gonna have everybody's social media handle on there. Go in there, find them. If you can't find them, put a link in the chat. Don't put a link in the chat. Ask for a link in the chat. I'll put it in there. Someone else will put it in there. Please go find them and follow them. They give constant tips, resources, templates, different types of perspectives all year. And the best way to keep that in front of your face is to go where you already are, which is social media. And so go and follow the presenters. So be active in the chat and then go follow our presenters on social media. Check out their websites and stuff they have. Guys, we're about to get started. We're about to go. We're about to kick it off like Pele. See what I did there? Pele, kick it off. There's more where that came from, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to jump right into it. The first session is by my friend, Neil Greathouse. And Neil is one of the most amazing all-around leaders I've ever met in my life. He's an amazing leader, communicator. He's directed films. He's done a ton of stuff. He has a wide range of talents and skill sets and experiences. So I'm having him talk on one of my most favorite concepts that he has, and I think it's super important for us as educators that we not only tell our students, not only tell our teachers or tell parents things, we show them things. So without further ado, let's kick it off, and let's start with Neil Greathouse. Here we go, Neil. Neil, hit him with a remix. Hit him with that remix.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Nope, so sorry. Look, my name's Neil. This is a way to start it off, right? My name is Neil Greathouse. That's really genuinely my name. We are standing here. We're on campus at the Ohio State University. You have to say the Ohio State University. You're not allowed to say Ohio State University or the Ohio State. It's the. This is Ohio Stadium right behind me. You can see that. Look at that. Look at this. Can you see? Can everybody see it? I don't know if they can see it. Whatever. This is where the Ohio State Buckeyes play. You might not be a Buckeye fan. It's okay. You're fine. Graduation, in all seriousness, graduation was a couple days ago. And so you can see them right there. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's a line of people that are waiting because graduation was maybe 4 days ago. And there has been a steady line, a stream of graduates here taking pictures behind me. These people just popped champagne bottles. We've had confetti cannons going off, and there's a line that goes down through the outside of the stadium for people with their photographers ready to get a picture. I haven't seen anybody with a giant cheese whiz jar though, or like to spray from just cheese everywhere. It's weird. I don't know why I said it. This is the Jesse Owens Memorial Plaza, right where we're standing here. You can fact check me on that. Go Google it later. Don't do it right now. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm glad to be here with you. I'm a director. I am an owner of a creative ad agency, and I am incredibly happy to be here with you. I have directed several short films, a feature-length documentary called Bike Beyond. You can actually go watch it right now on YouTube if you want. Just search for Bike Beyond documentary. We put it out there for free so that anybody who has type 1 diabetes can go and watch it. How else can I brag? Well, so it won Best Feature Film at the LA Film Festival 2 years ago, which is pretty incredible, and we're really, really proud of it. It's a documentary. So a bunch of people with type 1 diabetes, you're gonna hear that word a lot today, a bunch of people with type 1 diabetes, amateur cyclists from 5 different countries, they rode their bikes from New York City to San Francisco, and I guess it's never been done before. They're the first ones to do it, and we followed them across the country. We showed the struggles of the team, we showed the struggles of what it's like to try and do that much endurance athlete stuff, cycling, with having type 1 diabetes. And then they stopped in these towns all across the country and they met with people who have type 1 diabetes. It's pretty powerful. So we are really, really glad that as many people have been able to see it as possible. Years ago, myself, along with 2 other people, we started a company called Studio 88. We did work for different clients like Rolex, Tag Heuer. If you're a watch guy, if you like freak out and love watches like Casio, we didn't work for Casio. A lot of jewelry manufacturers, a lot of different people. We actually did a lot of advertising and marketing for them. We did creative websites and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. Everybody believe me now. I still am Neil. If you haven't Googled it yet, you probably haven't. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Today, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this concept of show, don't tell. I'm going to talk about that. Hopefully we can get through this because there's a guy who comes by on a lawnmower here about every 10 minutes. I can see him over there. We'll call him Jimmy. And if Jimmy comes over and interrupts us again, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Hopefully we won't have to do that. So the concept of show, don't tell, it is fundamentally something that I try to live by. I work hard at it in almost every project that we have ever produced. It has had this theory, this concept, this principle has had a profound impact on the work that we have done. I've got my notes here. I'm gonna do my best to go through here back and forth. So if I look down at my notes, I'm sorry. My goal is to tell you a little bit about this concept, the science behind it, and then how it has played out in different projects. Now, as an educator, I am positive that you want to make sure that what you're teaching, that it sticks. It just sticks. I actually pray this for my daughter when we go to school, because a lot of people they used to go to sleep with the book on their head, or underneath their pillow, and it's like, God, transfer all of that. He's not going to do it. So I always pray with my kids when I'm taking them to school, like, hey, God, I pray that everything that they studied, God, let it stick. Let it stick to their minds. I don't know if you pray over your kids. You don't have to, but it's pretty great. But what is one way that can help all of your hard work so that the teaching that you do, the training you do, all the hours and energy and everything that you do, what if you could do something that doesn't cost anything extra? It isn't really all that difficult, and it could help your students. If you're going, how do I help my students retain the information that they're learning? If I could give you one thing, it would be this: show, don't tell. I was gonna say write it down, but I really want Tyler to put it in my hand right here. Show, don't tell. I won't do that to him, it's too much. So let's approach this from a film industry perspective first. I have a lot of background in filmmaking, so I'm gonna approach it from that angle first, and we'll bring it back around to education. There is a concept that is called previs. It's called previs, Pre-VIS. It stands for pre-visualization. Some of you guys know this. If you look at any of the behind the scenes stuff or whatever behind movies, the way that a movie is conceptualized is now done in a process called previs. Entire movies are drawn out before like they're ever made. So for years, here's the history in it. For years in Hollywood, what people did is they started with something as a process called storyboarding. You've probably seen it. It's just a bunch of blocks that represent the movie screen, and they draw the process out, little stick figures with some action, and so underneath it they would say, okay, this is a wide angle shot, this is a close-up shot, this is a tracking shot, a dolly shot, an aerial shot, we want this to be a handheld shot. They draw everything out in very simple drawings, line art, it almost looks like a comic book before they ever actually make the movie. Now, this has evolved a lot, but it eventually went from just storyboarding, which anybody can do on a piece of paper. It is turned into an animation. It's an art form that is called pre-visualization, previs. So this is so that the people that are on set, the director of photography, the director of photography, what they do is they're the ones that say, here's the camera angle we want to use, here's the gear we want to use, here's how we want to do it. They determine how the film looks. So when you're watching the Oscars, here's how it plays out. The director of photography wins the cinematography award, okay? But your camera operators, they need to know, like, what is the process? How are we gonna do it? How are we gonna operate it? Because everybody's gonna have their own idea of the way to shoot it. Somebody has to say, here it is, black and white. They can all see what is expected. But the reason that they started drawing these out years ago, it starts way before you actually make a movie. See, people think that you do that so that on set you can get your crew together, and this happens on a daily basis. They're called dailies. What you shoot, you go back and you look back over before you shoot the next day. You kind of sequence this thing together. You're watching dailies, which are the daily shots that you got, very rough cut, but they will look at these panels, and before any of that ever happens on set, something happens. Before you're able to physically make a movie, you have to, what? You gotta pitch the movie. You gotta have a studio that's willing to buy it, that is willing to put the money and to front everything that you need for this movie. So studio execs, what they do is they all sit in a room and they look at what your idea for a movie is. There are scripts in Hollywood, yeah. Who reads scripts? Have you ever read a screenplay? It's difficult to read because you're trying to visualize what is actually happening, so you're only getting the words. The screenplay usually does a little bit more of an explanation, but really you want to read the book. But most executives, most studio execs, they want to see what this is going to look like before they ever want to read what it is. They're not, how do I say this without being, if you're a Hollywood producer or a studio exec, I apologize ahead of time. I'm gonna offend you right now. Most of them don't want to do the dirty, hard work of reading through a script. They just don't want to. What they want to do is they want to see it. So you could sit in a room and just explain it to them, but then you're gonna get it back and forth because they're still only able to visualize what you are saying. You see where this is going. You see where this is going. Show, don't tell, am I right? So the producer, he's the real brains behind the entire movie that's being made. Okay, so at the Oscars, when a movie wins Best Picture, if you've ever wondered, why does the producer get up at the Oscars and accept the award for Best Picture? Why not the director, right? Because they have a Best Director category, and the director, typically Martin Scorsese or somebody like that, gets up there and they accept the award. But why the producer? It's because the producer is the one who's doing all the real work, all behind the scenes, hiring the actors, securing the financing. They're working with executive producers to get money for it. They're getting the permits to go shoot. This is how the movie industry works. And pre-visualization, somebody sits down and they make a very, I say low budget, but it's not really low budget. It could cost easily $1 million, $1.5 million for a feature-length film to be pre-visualized out. It's an actual 3D drawing, animated, rendered out, and all that kind of stuff. It's not good. It doesn't have like clean lines. It's not colored the right way, but it shows them with the dialogue below. Sometimes they'll even put the voice in. Somebody will do a voiceover, and they get a chance to sit down and look at it. I'm going to take this one step further if you guys are ready for it. There is a guy who, so There's two brothers, Phil and Chris Lord. They directed the Lego movie. They also, Mitchell's versus the Machines. Go watch that. It's on Netflix right now. It is one of the best animated films that I believe has been out there in a while. It's hilarious. It's done by Sony Pictures, but those two guys, they did a pitch for a movie, and here's how they did it. You ready? They didn't go through and get all this like pre-visualization done. What they did is they went to a stock video site, a website where you can buy stock video footage, and they went out and searched for something that looks like what they were going for. They got, I mean, random actors, random people, whatever, all stock video, and they stitched together what they wanted their movie to look like. So they didn't have to go out and animate it. They just used free video clips from like YouTube and all these other websites, and they stitched it together. Yeah, that's not the real actor. Yeah, that's not the real set. Yeah, why did that guy jump out of a plane and now he's on a hot air balloon or whatever? But they got it as close as they could, and they pitched a movie idea, and Sony Pictures said yes. This is how a lot of animated movies are actually made as well. Pixar. The reason why they make good movies is because they spend just as much time crafting the story and then pitching the idea as they do making the movie itself. They could spend 3 years getting that story together to show a studio exec before they ever actually make it. Saturday Night Live. If you watched it this past weekend, it was Keegan-Michael Key. The week previously, it was Elon Musk. There's a process that Saturday Night Live goes through every single week. What they do is they get a new guest in. So what they do is on Sunday morning, they sit down with that new guest. The new guest, after Saturday night is done, Sunday morning they sit down, they get that guest in the room. Lorne Michaels, he's the producer of the entire thing, sits in there with the entire cast, the entire crew, and they meet the guest for that week. In that time, what these different writers, so the actors on Saturday Night Live are also the writers, the people that you see, like, I mean, classic. What's your favorite? I don't know. Who's your favorite SNL actor of all time? Like in the comments, definitely tell us who is your favorite Saturday Night Live. So I mean, is it like Will Ferrell? Is it Adam Sandler? Is it Andy Samberg? Is it Kristen Wiig? Yes, it should be yes to all of those. But what they do is they sit in this room on the floor at tables around in this little tiny room up in Rockefeller Center, and they pitch their ideas. But it's all audible. It's all like, hey, I had this one idea, and it has to be like 2 to 3 sentences at best. And they kind of like throw these ideas out there, and that what the producers are doing is they're watching to see what does that actor or actress or musician or guest, what do they laugh at? What do they kind of light up about? And then they send all of those actors and writers back to their rooms, their desks, and for 2 days, they write up all their best ideas. And they're in this process of pitching their ideas, but it's still just a script. Now, a couple of guys who were on the show that you may or may not know, Kyle Mooney is one of them. He's had some of the most far out, wild concepts and ideas. And sometimes it's difficult for these actors to get it. Because remember, they're actors. They're not like producers. They don't do this all the time. They're just told what to do. And Kyle Mooney has started pre-filming some of this stuff on his phone. And any chance he will get, in an elevator, in a hallway, any spare second he gets with the guest, he will pitch them this idea. Or he'll go to Lorne Michaels, who's been doing this for 20, what are they in, like 40, I don't know how many years SNL. If you know how many years Saturday Night Live has been around, like put that in the comments too. There's prizes. Tyler's gonna give you $1 million if you can get that one right. Sorry, Tyler. Baller Teacher. All the funds from the sale of that book are gonna go to your prize. It's not true, but they've been doing this for years. He will show them, Kyle Mooney will show them what he's talking about, and he'll get them to connect with it better. So let me tell you some of the science behind this, okay? So vision trumps all other senses. I'm not talking like cliche vision, like, man, I got a strong vision for the future. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right here. Vision trumps all other senses. Because we don't see with just our eyes, we see with our brains as well. So here's the science. A group of scientists, they got a bunch of wine aficionados together at a wine tasting. And it was a big test. These wine tasters, they're, I don't know, whatever. These very snobby people, That's not true. I shouldn't have said that. It sounds super pretentious. I get it. I wouldn't know wine from wine in a box or from a $1,000 bottle if it hit me in the face. A buddy of mine, we were in Napa about 2 years ago, and he and I were at a restaurant, and he ordered this wine, and he paid like $500 for like a bottle of it this much. I was like, bro, it can't be that good. He smelled it forever. Well, that's what these wine experts do. What these scientists did is they got all of these people in a room and they tested white wines, but they put in that white wine, they put an odorless, tasteless red dye into the white wine. And all of these experts, with only the visuals changed, the taste of the wine didn't change, the texture of the wine didn't change, the color is the only thing that changed. How would these enologists, that's what they're actually called. Jimmy's back, by the way. Jimmy is mowing close. Maybe he won't get all the way over here, I don't know. Jimmy's a big guy. Enologists are wine people. How did they respond to these wines? And the answer is that their noses would be fooled. So here's what happened. Every single one of the 54 wine experts, they used words to describe the wine as if it was a red wine. Now, people in the scientific community, they had a field day with this, lost their minds. They started publishing research papers, literally called this the color of odors, and the nose smells what the eye sees. Think about that. The nose smells what the eyes see. The takeaway is visual processing doesn't just assist in the perception of our world, it dominates the perception of our world. Big difference. Do you see how they were tricked by what they saw? They were tasting a white wine, but it looked like it was red, and so they ended up using words to describe a red wine that you would never. I don't drink wine. I wouldn't know what the difference is. I should ask Jimmy. And Jimmy doesn't care. Jimmy doesn't care about me. So this feature-length documentary that we made is called Bike Beyond. Now, in the pitch meeting, sitting down with all the producers and the people that are financing all this, we had to map out what we wanted to happen. Now, what's tricky about a documentary is you could either document an event as it is happening, or you go backwards and you retell the story and you go back and do some digging up. We were actually documenting what was happening. Hint, document, don't create. It's way better to document something as it's happening than have to go back and recreate it. But we were trying to explain to them what we wanted to happen, but a lot of it was up to chance. You put 21 cyclists who've never ridden together, they've never worked together, they've never met in person. It had only been done by Skype and Zoom meetings prior to this. We were pitching this idea to the board, and who is the board of Beyond Type 1? So I worked with Nick Jonas, maybe you've heard of him. He's one of the Jonas brothers, but whatever. Sarah Lucas, she's a CEO. Her daughter has type 1 diabetes. Her name is Mary. And Sarah Lucas and her husband, Don Lucas, they're venture capitalists. They got just the incredible connections. Their backyard neighbors in Portola Valley are the CFO of Facebook, or Faithbook, however you say it. The other lady that was on the board is Juliette de Bobonnet. She runs the Red Foundation for Bono. And then the last guy, his name is Sam Talbot. You may have heard of him if you ever watch the Food Network. He won Top Chef like multiple times in a row. We got all these people in a room and we had to pitch the idea, and we had to do it, and I hate to say this, we had to dumb it down because I could explain what we wanted to happen, but we couldn't explain that to them about how, hey, there's a chance that this movie won't go the way that you think it is going to go. And so we made this decision to map it out on Post-it notes. And I'm not saying these are dumb people, these are brilliant people, but they've never really had to sit down and hear a pitch on a documentary before. And so we color coordinated the entire route. What we did is we used certain colors to denote a location. So yellow meant a physical location along the map. So we said, we're gonna be in New York here, We're going to be down in Washington, D.C. here. We're going to eventually get over to Pittsburgh. We're going to get up to Cleveland. We're going to go down to Nashville. So all these different locations, as we went out west, yellow was a location. They started to pick up, okay, yellow is location on here, and blue just meant feeling. We knew that through the process of this documentary that emotions and tension and fatigue and body ache over a 3-month, every single day cycling trip. I mean, they're averaging between 75 and 150 miles a day. They knew that that would absolutely wear them down. So we used blue to denote feelings of trending downward. We used green to denote trending upward. We used different colors to help visualize what this actual process was going to look like. Does that make sense? So as we mapped out through Post-it notes what this entire process would look like, we used visuals because our brain doesn't operate like a camera. Many of us, we think that the brain's visual system works like a camera. It's just collecting and processing the raw visual data provided by our outside world. That's what we think. But seeing seems effortless. Is it 100% trustworthy, what we see? Or maybe it's a little bit different. Is it that what we see is capable of providing a completely accurate representation of what's actually happening out there? Because most of us think that our vision, like what we see, is we think of it as in reliable terms, but it's not actually true. The way we experience what we see in our visual environment, it's as a fully analyzed opinion about what the brain thinks is out there. So how to explain this? There's the Ohio State Science Center is right over there. We could go over there and we could nerd out for a while, but it starts off like this. Our retina is out there trying to become like an amateur filmmaker, right? It's our retina with all the light, the imagery that it takes in is like this little tiny Martin Scorsese, and there's something called the association vortices. That's important, but you don't have to remember that. Don't write that down. Tyler, don't give any prizes away. If you remember association vortices, that's great. But that's what we're all doing is we're all trying to interpret the integration of the signals coming into our brain through the eyes. That's what that means. And there are most of the scientists will agree that there are 12 different tracks at the same time that are coming into our brain through our eyes. It's shadow, lighting, depth, distance, all of it. Think of it like this. You might see a car when you're looking to the right or the left as you're getting ready to cross the road, and you're on the street and your brain is trying to figure out if the car is actually going to hit you or not. Like, how fast is it going? Do they have another stop? Are they at a standstill? What are they doing? There's so much information. This is all going through what's called the dorsal stream. That is, it's all trying to figure this out before you get sideswiped by the car. I have to sneeze. I sneezed because allergies hit here recently. But so what does all this have to do with the show Don't Tell? Okay, so here's what it is. If you think that the brain has to devote a lot of its precious thinking power and resources to vision, then you're right on the money. Because visual processing takes up about half of everything that our brain does. I'm gonna say that again. You could write this down if you really wanted to. I mean, you don't have to. Visual processing takes up about half of everything that our brain does. This is true. This helps explain why professional wine tasters throw aside their taste buds so quickly when they see a red wine that's actually a white wine. See, vision affects all the other senses, not the other way around. What you taste doesn't change what you see. What you see changes the way you taste something. If it's visually appealing, it actually affects your taste. It's not the other way around. Now, we've all heard this phrase like, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? If it really is, one way that we could actually measure the way our vision, what we see, the way it dominates the way that we learn is through our memory. So researchers, they studied this using two different types of memory. The first one is called recognition memory, which it underlies the concept of familiarity. That's what it's talking about, like the ability to recognize them. We use this kind of memory when we're looking at old pictures or family photographs. Throwback Thursday, hashtag, anybody? Is that still a thing? I don't think it's a thing. It doesn't, Nah, no way that's a thing. There's absolutely no way. We look at photos this way. We can look at a picture after not seeing it for years and years, and in the picture, you see your aunt. Let's say you've got an aunt. Now, you don't really remember her name because it was a long time ago, or the photo, but you can recognize her as your aunt. You see what I'm saying? With this recognition memory, you might not remember certain details surrounding what you see, but as soon as you see it, you know you've seen it before. You know how that feels. You've seen it. You're like, oh my gosh, is that deja vu? No, it's something totally different. That's a black cat in the Matrix, but forget that. Don't worry about that. That's totally secondary. Now, the second kind of memory, it involves what's called working memory. This kind of memory hits the temporary storage portion of the brain. It's things we remember, but for only a little bit. It's like the recycling bin on your desktop. It's just waiting to be thrown out. Most of us, we can only hold about 4 different things in that short-term memory location. It's a really small space. And it isn't all that complex. It's extremely limiting. All these limitations, they make it all the more incredible that vision is probably the single best tool we have for learning anything. Now remember what we said at the beginning. We're talking about show, don't tell, because we want to ultimately be able to get what our students are learning. We want it to stick. So why is that important? Well, the memory is really important because when it comes to both recognition memory and working memory, pictures and text follow very different rules. All of that to say this, simply put, the more visual the input becomes, the more likely it is to be recognized and remembered or recalled. That's insane. Think about it. The more visual it is, it will dominate over text. This is what's called the pictorial superiority effect. Actually remember that, and I'm very proud of myself. So, tests performed years ago showed that people could remember more than 2,500 pictures with at least 90% accuracy several days later. They got a bunch of people in the room and they said, hey, we're going to show you 2,500 pictures. And then 90 days later, even though the people saw each picture for only about 10 seconds, this is recognition memory, not working memory, because remember that recycle bin is empty. And accuracy rates a year later, after seeing 2,500 pictures for 10 seconds, accuracy still hovers around 63%. That's nuts. So, in one paper, picture recognition information, it was still remembered up to 10 years later. These scientists, this scientific journal they published, that's what they said, that some of these photos were remembered 10 years later. And they did the same research with text, or like I'm talking like written words or oral presentations. The usual result was this, that pictures demolish both of them. Pictures demolish text or vocal oral presentations, what we say. Sounds pretty incredible. So text and oral presentations aren't just less efficient than pictures for remembering certain types of information, they are far less efficient. So if information is presented to you by saying it, you guys know this, I'm pretty sure you do. I want to hesitate, I don't want to tell you. In the comments, tell me if you know what percentage of people remember what you say. If you're doing an oral presentation, in the comments, see if you can remember. I'll come back and I'll tell you that percentage here in a little bit. Now, this is when they're tested 72 hours after you as a teacher, as a communicator, as an educator would say it. What is the percentage? It's 10%. 10% of what you say is remembered 72 hours later when you're tested. Now, that number goes up to 65% if you add a picture. You ready to know why? You want 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 to know why? Because I think a lot of us, we kind of know this, but we don't really know the exact reason why. See, text and speech, they're a lot less efficient than pictures because the brain sees words as lots of little tiny pictures. That's the way that our brain interprets pictures. If you're a science teacher, I'm sorry, I'm dumbing this down to like grade school. That is, I'm seeing a tree, but that's a tree. But when I see a written word and I see the word tree, that is tiny little images of trees. Like when I see the word Jimmy, I think of tiny little lawn mowing guys all around town. What, it's weird. A word is unreadable unless the brain can separately identify simple features in a letter, like actually the letter. But when we hear a word, our brain interprets it like as a tiny little, like an art museum. Like, it's like a little art museum masterpiece when we hear it. It's like our brains are like art junkies, right? And we got a lot of Banksies running around our brain, but when we put a picture with the words, I'm not here to bash, please. I'm not here to bash written word. I'm not here to bash oral communication. I'm just saying that if we can show, not just tell, the retention rate is so much higher. But it's not just in pictures. It's also got to be that we can't just say, hey guys, here's your assignment, do blah, 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 blah. We have to actually walk them through it and show them. And I know you guys know this. I know that. So what are the best visuals for learning? Like, what kinds of pictures grab people's attention the best? I'm glad you asked. First, the way the human brain works, we pay lots of attention to color. Color matters. We also pay attention to the size of the image, the way that our brains interpret it. Like size and scale have a lot to do with it. If I'm about to tell you something right now that should make your PowerPoint or your Google slide a whole lot better. You ready for this? This is worth the whole thing. How long are we at now? Oh gosh, we're 33 minutes. Okay, so good. You guys are doing great. This will help, all of it. Studies show that simple line drawings, like a hand-drawn line drawing of like a little stick figure guy, has a much higher impact on a person's ability to remember and learn. Now, this is opposed to like an intricate, well-drawn like picture or a photograph. Why is that? Why is a little line drawn, like if I had my Apple Pencil here, I would, like a little circular, like line draw this thing. Why is that more powerful or easy to remember than a photograph or a well, like an oil painting or something like that? It's because our brains are silently interpreting a lot of different things when they see a line drawing. One of the things that we almost all do as humans, when we see somebody else's line drawing, we go, well, I could draw better than that, can't I? I could draw that. I could definitely do that, right? Why did they draw it that way? Those are the things that we think, like right out of the bat. Have you ever seen that video of the teacher who does the perfect circle on the dry erase board and like his class just loses it? Because everybody's like, oh my gosh, why? Because you've tried to do a line drawing before. I haven't tried to oil paint. I also haven't tried white wine that's dyed to look like red wine. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is important. A simple line drawing is very memorable. I'm gonna prove it to you. Tyler and I were in a huge conference. There was like, it was like administrators and some pretty high level HR offices and things like that from all over the country. And they were in this room, and they brought a guy up to the dry erase board to draw like groups of people. And it's so weird that I still remember this. I don't remember most of the rest of this conference, but I do remember this. And he starts drawing people. So he draws the head, draws the body, draws legs, draws 2 arms, and then draws 2 more arms. And at first you think, it's kind of odd. And then he does it again and again and again. He's drawn like 10 different like little stick figure people up here because he's doing this presentation. And somebody, I think it might have been Tyler, was like, I'm so sorry, but like, can I ask a question? Why does everyone have 4 arms? And he did not realize he did it. The entire room just bust out laughing. We are losing our minds. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. I can't believe I did that. He erases them. And he goes on to draw the next one and draws it with 4 arms. It's like he couldn't draw a stick figure person without 4 arms. Now here's the thing is, that was so much more visually appealing than what these other bigwigs did with this massive presentation. Simple, 2-dimensional pictures, they work best. And studies show that if drawings are too complex or too lifelike, they distract from the transfer of information. Hopefully this is helping you. If this is helping you, give us a thumbs up and a like. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Kidding, I don't know if you can subscribe to this. Basically, less text, more pictures, okay? Now, these were fighting words back in 1982. How many of you guys were around in 1982? Yep. 1982. That was a good year for, I don't know what, Reaganomics? I'm not really sure. I don't even know. Here's what happened in 1982. USA Today arrived on the scene, and they used style, color, and less words. The look and feel of their newspaper changed. They didn't do things the way everybody else did. It spelled the end of how the newspaper reading public interpreted all of it. I didn't say it changed the newspaper industry. It changed how the newspaper reading public read newspapers, because within 4 years, USA Today had the second highest readership of any newspaper in the country. Was there more information or better information in their newspaper as opposed to somebody else's? Nope. But they knew that at first glance, pictures were more initially attractive to consumers because it took less effort to comprehend it. Now, advertisers have known this for years. They did a test. This is lots of tests. If I said there's a lot of tests in this talk, school's over. Why are we still testing? Some people getting their photos taken back there. I'm sorry. I'm just realizing there's a lot of tests. But they used infrared eye tracking technology, and they studied 3,600 consumers. And they tested each one of these people on 1,363 different print ads. And they watched where their eyes went when they looked at a print ad. That's a lot of Walgreens print ads. I'm assuming that. I'm so sorry, Walgreens, don't sue us. The conclusion, you guessed it, show don't tell. People visually went to the picture before they ever went to the text. It went photo first, it went drawing first, it went visual first, then to the text and the fine print. So pictorial information was superior in capturing attention. Even if the picture was small and crowded with lots of other words close by and surrounding it, the eye went to the picture almost 100% of the time. Now, this is the point where we all go out there and we burn our Google Slides to the ground and we start over. You don't even have to do that. You don't have to do that. You can try it. I would actually recommend this. Test this out for a little bit. See which one works better. If you've got a presentation that you're using and it's got a lot of text and things like that on it, try swapping out a few of those things for simple line drawings or visuals. Remember what I said a little while back. Vision, what we see, is by far our most dominant sense. It takes up half of our brain's resources. This is very important. 50% of everything that you take in comes through your eyes first. Now, I'm going to give you an example of how this worked for a 6-year-old. And this is recently, this is actually only a couple weeks ago. A friend of ours, his daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. About 3.5 weeks ago, went to Children's Hospital in Little Rock, and they've got an incredible endocrinology team there. They spent 3 or 4 days in the hospital. There is so much information as a parent of a child who has been given this diagnosis. There's so much information. There's lots of finger sticks because you got to check your blood with a needle to get blood out of it, and you got to put it on a test strip, and it's a lot. And they have to do it at least 4 times a day. You're getting shots at least 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 times a day. Well, there's this device. It's called a CGM. It's a continuous glucose monitor. And what it does is you inject it. It's like and I'm wearing one right now. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to just tell you about it. Sorry, mine is actually, that's terrible. Mine's actually down here on my stomach, and I can't get myself up there to show you. What it does is you inject it below the skin. There's it almost looks like a mouse, and you click this mouse, and it injects this thing underneath the skin. It has a metal filament that is about this long, it's about that long, and it has 4 tiny little sensors that they don't read your blood sugar, they read your subcutaneous fluid that is just below the skin. So you inject it and it goes in diagonally. And then you put this little, it's a, Dexcom calls it a transmitter, but that's a brand name, but there's a transmitter on it so you can see what your blood is in real time, and it sends that signal to your phone or another device. And you can just pull your phone out. It's a huge time saver, and see what your blood sugar is. Very accurate. It's incredible. And this little girl, her name is River. Her parents, Josh and Amanda, they went out on a limb and they bought these Dexcom. That's the company that makes the CGM. That's the name of the device, Dexcom. And they bought her some, and it's so expensive, you guys. I mean, it's really expensive. If you have to inject it under the skin. let me see. So one of the transmitters is about $350 and every sensor is about $100. After it's all said and done, and whether you have insurance or not, we don't need to go into that. And she was terrified. Little River, 6 years old, terrified. And I'm actually like shocked, but they tried to get her to put one on, and it doesn't really hurt all that much, but it's a huge alternative to these finger sticks where you're bleeding every day and the aggravation of all of it. Well, her parents, they tried to put one on her, and it's intimidating the first time because you don't know, is this thing gonna hurt me? She was just in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. She was afraid of it. Rightly so. I would think you need to be afraid of it. And everybody just kept telling her, listen, it's not gonna hurt. It's not all that bad. Doctors said it to her, nurses said it to her. They got home and Josh and Amanda did their best to tell her, and it got to this point. And remember, words are not the most powerful thing of the two. Remember, you could say it all day long. You could say it's not gonna hurt. You could say, hey, whatever. You could show her the words that says it's not gonna hurt. It's the imagery that goes along with those words. She's seeing this thing, it looks foreign, it looks scary. She knows there's a needle in it, maybe, don't really know. So they tried to get one on her unsuccessfully, and it just didn't work. She was terrified, it didn't work. So they had to put another one on her. So here's what we did. Her parents and my wife and I, we came up with this plan. You do this together. But we showed up and we brought 2 extras. The story's not about me, it's about River. But we brought 2 extras, little Dexcom sensors, and I put one on her dad, like literally rolled up his sleeve, stuck this thing on there and clicked it in so it injected in there, and the adhesive sticks on his arm so that River could see. Show, don't tell. Then I had her dad put one on me. She watched, like she was literally like off to the side. She didn't want to see it, but she watched. And then she got one put on her. Her parents put one on her. Now somehow, the way she saw us put one on and not flinch, like Josh had one, he didn't flinch. We didn't fall on the floor. We didn't scream, we didn't cry, whatever. It helped her. Why? Because visually showing someone and not just telling them makes a difference. Now the company, Dexcom, they know the concept of show, don't tell. Dexcom, incredible company, they started giving away stickers that look exactly like one of those CGMs. It's just plastic. It's an adhesive, it's just a sticker. It's just like any other sticker that you'd find in like a kid's play, a coloring book or whatever. It looks just like a CGM. Because for kids, think about this, to have some of those is like samples. They'll send you some. Dexcom, the company, sent River some. Because for kids to put one on their friend or their teddy bear or their stuffed animal, what it does is it brings peace of mind. Why? Because explaining what it is over and over and over again to somebody gets exhausting. Trying to convince somebody that it's not bad or that it doesn't hurt, it gets exhausting. So they decided to start showing kids and stop telling them. I'll tell you about my diagnosis here for a second. I was about 20 years old. I was in the United States Air Force. I was in flight training, and I got really, really sick. My pancreas shut down 3 months into something called hypoxia and high pressure and altitude sickness training. We put our bodies through a lot, but my pancreas shut down, and I had to go in the hospital. My blood sugar, if you know what it is, like blood sugar is supposed to be around 100. Like your blood sugar, if you checked yours and you've got a healthy working pancreas, it's probably around 100, but mine was 1800, and then my body kicked into something called ketoacidosis. They rushed me to the hospital. I went blind for about a week until my eyesight came back. My body was beat up. Lost my flight status, lost the training, all that kind of stuff, and couldn't continue on that job that I had. They sent me home from the hospital with a piece of paper that said, do these things when it comes to taking care of your blood sugar. Like, check your blood sugar, and if it's this, then do this. If it's this, then do this. There was no one-on-one training. Now, keep in mind, this is a military hospital. It's not like a children's hospital. We got incredible hospitals and healthcare providers and all that kind of stuff. They just sent me home with a bunch of words on paper and said, do this. And it took me about 7 years to fully start to grasp what was happening and take ownership for it myself and go do it. What they told me in the hospital in 1 week had to be enough information to last me for what, a lifetime? And it can't happen. what they said and what they showed me on paper wasn't enough. I needed to see someone else do it. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to be around a bunch of diabetes stuff. I didn't want to be around any of that. I didn't want people to look at me any different, but I needed to learn. And so I went out and found a bunch of other people who have type 1 diabetes and started learning from them. In that time period, I had moved to Central Arkansas. And when I moved, I had a whole new group of friends who didn't know anything about type 1 diabetes. And to be honest with you, I was just so tired of talking about it. I didn't want to talk about it anymore, so I made a video that showed what an insulin pump looks like, showed what it looks like to test your blood sugar. And I made 6 of these videos, and it blew up. What does blow up mean? I don't know. It caught on. And then I started challenging myself to make 60-second videos every day for a year showing people what type 1 diabetes looks like. And I would get parents of people that were in other countries, parents of kids who have type 1 diabetes that would say, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how good it is for my kid to see you do this, because it helps them to see somebody else go through this. So I basically started an entire Instagram account that has grown like crazy, and a YouTube channel. And that's really why I got into a lot of filmmaking, is because I saw the power of showing someone something and not just talking about it. You can talk about it. You can print it out, put some visuals along with it. If you're gonna do one thing, hopefully you get something out of this, hopefully you learn something. Or maybe at least you're willing to try some of these things out on your own. Test it, see if it helps. Get your students to be a part of the process of making a video that teaches somebody else how to do it. If it works, if it's crazy, I don't know, but I think it will work. The science tells us that it will work. And I believe we've seen enough history, I've seen enough examples in the film industry, in the advertising industry, on social media. Show, don't tell works in every one of those scenarios. It also works when we are parenting our kids. It also works when we're trying to set the tone in a classroom for the right kind of behavior that we're going to model. It's if you show them what that behavior should look like, that's what they will eventually do. My dad told me this years and years ago. He said, son, people don't do what you say, they do what you do, which is essentially just show, don't tell. Hopefully this has helped you. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you guys today and forever on the internet, because I'm sure this isn't gonna go anywhere. But my mom was an elementary school teacher for about 25 years. She taught everything from kindergarten up through 5th grade. She taught every single one of them. I watched her take her own resources, her own money, and pour it back into a classroom full of kids when she didn't have the budget. She tried to do things that seemed crazy. She risked things. She cared about these kids. And my mom was a teacher. She worked in the education and the educator world for years. And I've got a ton of respect for you guys for what you do. And I just want you to know that what you're doing matters. It makes a huge difference. So much, in fact, that my daughter, our oldest daughter, is going to college right now to become an English teacher. The irony of it is, though, is my dad, while he heard that my daughter wanted to be an English teacher, he said, that's the craziest idea, everyone will hate you. It's like, Dad, why would you say that? He's like, nobody likes an English teacher. If you teach well, they will love it. And my daughter has gravitated toward it. She cannot wait to be a high school English teacher, which is crazy. And she's gonna be able to do it, and she's gonna be great. Thank you guys for all of your hard work, all the energy and effort you put into keeping yourselves sharp and trained and learning and all of it. It's an honor to be here with you. Again, my name is Neil Greathouse. This has been Show, Don't Tell, and I'm gonna go hang out with Jimmy. We're gonna go eat some Slim Jims. Hang on. Snap into it, Jimmy. Here we go, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're rolling right along. So the next session is from my friend Deshae Lewis. Ms. Lewis is a teacher out of Russellville, and she is a phenomenal educator. She has a amazing TikTok account. Check her out on TikTok, Instagram. She's got a website. Check her out at Lessons with Lewis. I was chatting with her. We were doing a session for a TikTok conference that we're doing later this summer. Holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. That doesn't make sense. Don't yell at me. Hey, Tyler, when's your TikTok conference? Just check my website. I've got it on there. But we were recording for that, and I was like, you know what? I think you're a pretty baller educator, and so I would love to get your thoughts on some topics, and she did. She came in with some thoughts, and the title of this session is called Windows and Mirrors, and I think it's pretty interesting. It's pretty incredible, and it's something that I am very passionate about, and I know she is as well, and so I'd love for you to hear from her talking about that. Coming up right now, check her out, social media, tell her thank you for giving her time to give us value today. Thank you guys. Let's go. Hey everybody, I am joined with the wonderful Miss Lewis. At Lessons with Lewis. Check her out on every social media platform. And you know what? If you don't, you're like, I don't have Facebook or I don't have TikTok. Create one and follow her. Fun fact, I missed my email list when we talked last time, but I did one of the weeks that I was sending out my email list, I was doing on TikTok, and I had 10 people that I was recommending, you have to follow this person on TikTok, and you were one of them. You were, I think you were the first one, one of the top 2 people. I was like, you've got to follow her. She has upbeat, positive, informative content. It's just, I've never seen something you've posted. I've been like, oh, well, I could live without that. It's all good. There's people, we do, we've all seen it. We're like, geek, you're like, I could go pass on that. So thank you so much for your time and for being a part of this. I think you're a wonderful teacher, and I think the more people that can hear all the wonderful advice and things that you're doing, I think it's the better. And so I wanted to ask you a question. We've talked before about just diversity, inclusion in education, representation, all of it. I would love if you would kind of throw out maybe a story or experience that's helped you frame what you know is important, and maybe could help someone else frame a mindset or a way that they could steps they could take forward to, help inclusion in the classroom.
Okay, so one of the topics that you may have heard over the last year or so has been representation. And some people may have been like, why does it matter that, students see teachers or adults that look like them in, higher positions, different things like that? I will give you a perfect example of, why something like that matters. So my son and I were watching a movie the other day. It was Cinderella with the singer Brandy and Whitney Houston. And my son asked me if that was a princess on that movie. And I was like, yes, that's Cinderella. And he was like, Cinderella is brown? And I was like, yeah, Cinderella can be whatever. And at that moment, it really made me think, what if he thought about that in terms of every type of career, every position, just in different manners? So for example, if we go to the doctor's office and all he sees are white males as doctors, what if he only thinks, oh, only white males can be doctors, nobody else? And so we kind of just never know what young kids or even teenagers are thinking in terms of that. And so I want my students to be able to think that, I can do whatever, I can be whatever. And I think it really makes a difference whenever representation is in the school building, because I have students that I don't even have in class, and they see somebody that looks like them, and they'll just stop by and say, hey, what's up? Or they'll come in my classroom and talk to me, and they'll come in the classroom sometimes and you got some chips, you got something to drink. But we can just start a conversation from there. And I think it's because they know that we have some similarities in some ways. We have some of our culture, things are similar. And one of the things that we've been able to do is at our school is start a club called In Our Shoes. And in that club, it allows us to talk about, some things that we see, in the news. We get to talk about our culture. We get to talk about other people's cultures, how, other people view cultures, different things like that. So it really makes it, I don't know necessarily a safe space, but it makes it feel like the students are welcome and a part of school, because I didn't have anything like that when I was in school. I had maybe one teacher that was a person of color when I was in school. I never had a Black teacher or anything like that. And I feel like it does, I had wonderful teachers, but I feel like it can make a difference as far as, feeling like I can just be myself at school, or things like that. So I think representation is 100% important.
I 1000%. I don't know if you can you get 1000%? If you can get up to 1000%, I 1000% agree. And whenever I like thinking through this and how I would be better at doing this in the classroom, like one of the things, because I'm like, well, I can't change the way I look, but
Right.
how can
Exactly.
I represent that to other people? And one of the advice I've seen, because I've done, in school, I have to do a lot of like research studies and I have to read all these research. And it talks about how even through watching like YouTube videos, like if you're like, hey, here's an instructional video through YouTube, like
Yes.
students feel empathy, or like not empathy, but like they have understanding of other cultures, and it helps kind of just bridge that, like if they don't look like them or if they do look like them, it's a better, you're creating a more rounded curriculum just by including other people. And so, what I would do is I would just be like, hey, I'm going to go find this lesson today on YouTube. And you know what? I'm going to find somebody that doesn't look like this generic dude right here. Like I'm going to go find somebody that
Yes.
looks different than either my students or looks like some of my students who don't get to see their representation a lot of
Yeah.
times in their instructors. And so do you have any other advice that teachers can do if, like, say they're trying to do that or they want to do that? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, and that's exactly, what you said with that windows and mirrors, allowing, students to see themselves, but then also allowing other students to see other cultures. So when I'm working on presentations, for my classroom, I make sure I'm considering like, who's in my classroom? How can students relate to these people if they see them on their screen? If I am, certain months, so if we have, Native American Month, or if we have Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, those are things that I'm, putting out in the hallway, creating posters about it. Women's History Month, those things that I create posters about so students can stop and read it. We have windows outside of our school or outside of our classroom, and it's so neat to see students walking by and stopping and read the information on that wall. So sharing things like that, and sometimes students may peek in and say, "Oh, I saw this out on the wall," or I read about this. And so I think seeing those things can make a huge difference as well. Seeing the effort that the teachers make, and being genuine about it. So, and if you're not sure about how to do that, ask people if is this resource okay to share in class? Is this appropriate for me to share in class? Because you don't want it to be a situation where you think you're doing something right, and then a parent will come back and say, that's not gonna work for me. So you want to make sure, talk to somebody about it. If you don't feel, if you you want to start doing something to be more diverse, but you aren't sure how to do it, I feel like, maybe have a one-on-one conversation with somebody that you feel like is willing to talk about it, with you.
That is fantastic advice. And I agree. It's like, I think too, because it's like, you hear it all the time. It's like, especially, with, if somebody's trying to do something, it's like, and somebody views it a certain way, we're judging others based on their actions, and we judge ourselves based on our intentions. And it's like,
that's right.
if you go out and it's like, you might be trying your best to do something good, but then it comes off a certain way, and it's just because you didn't do the prep work leading into it.
Exactly.
And
That's
so
it.
I completely agree. And I think run stuff by people that you trust, and that people that, can have a voice in that, and just make sure you're not going to go out and say something that you don't understand, even if you're not intending to. So I think it's fantastic. Any other thoughts or advice that you have for teachers or administrators to help, be more inclusive, or even just be more considerate of other people as they do their daily job? Because that's the thing. I think a lot of people, it's not that they're trying to be rude or trying to be inconsiderate. It's just like in the process, they don't have to think about it, so they don't think about it. Do you have any other thoughts or advice?
I will
how people
say,
do better?
It makes a huge difference when administrators are aware of the diverse needs of the students, and are aware when, maybe PD needs to be taught, or maybe we need to have a sit down with the staff and we need to talk about, what's going on. Maybe we're seeing a certain group of students, consistently with lower scores. What are we doing to making sure that we are really helping all students? But when you have it, when it starts at that top level and administrators are aware, I think it makes a huge difference in the environment of the school, and making a movement to making sure that we are really, being inclusive with our education system.
Yeah. I completely agree. And that's the thing. If you could start in pockets as teachers, but if an administrator does it, it filters down and it becomes important to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that administrators filter down that's not important. This is important. It's like, let's try to filter. I'm kidding, administrators. Everything they decide is great, especially the administrators that work with us. We love them. So I think that's great advice. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Where can everybody find you if they want to check out your channel or reach out to you, or maybe they want you to come in and do a PD at their school? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm going to pitch you. I know you didn't ask for that. You actually said the opposite. You're like, I don't want to. Nope, I'm going to pitch you to everybody. So where's some places people can find you?
Well, I am on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, Lessons with Lewis. I do have an educational website. You can find that website. It's in the link in my Instagram. So you can just find me in all those places. I'll be around.
Thank you so much. And that was fantastic advice. And I hope everybody starts taking steps to do that in their classroom and in their buildings today, right now. Go for it. No, I'm just kidding. You should take notes. Send an email to yourself so you don't forget. All right. See you guys in the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lewis. Boom. Here we go. Okay. That was lovely. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. So this next portion of this is I want to show you a video of something I made. So as you know, you're all a baller teacher. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You wouldn't be watching this if you were not like, oh, I'm a baller teacher. I want to be a more baller teacher. What does that even mean? Who knows? And so I wanted to show a video from something I made this year. It was called the Baller Student Show. And so my thought was I want to not only try to help teachers connect and empower them, and so they can empower students, help grow the leadership within an educator, because we know as a leadership and an educator grows, therefore everyone gets better, every student gets better. And so I thought, it'd be cool as they're trying to help their students learn in person, hybrid, online, all these types of learning. How are students most successful? And so what I did was I made an episode of a show called the Baller Student Show, and I want to show that to you here today. Before we do, with this, the idea for this video is that you could show this in your classroom, and you're not going to want to show this like whole, conference, but you could show this singular video in there. Think it's like Bill Nye, but lower production value and much less talented on-screen talent. So what in this video, what I'd like you to do is think through the process of you showing this to your students. Either you can assign it in classroom or you watch it together and then you discuss out loud. But with it, I have some resources. I've got a Google Doc that you could put into Classroom and make a copy of. Or you can take the PDF. I made like a PDF they can fill out. Made it in Canva. If you haven't used Canva, Canva is incredible. In the chat, have you ever used Canva? If not, why not? It's incredible. So I've got those documents you can use as a supplement to this video, and you can give to your students so they can fill out their academic goals and their social goals. If you want that, it is tarveracademy.com/ballerstudent. Okay, pretty easy to remember, tarveracademy.com/ballerstudent. If somebody would toss that in the chat, that would be super helpful for anybody that didn't catch that. You can click that link. I've got a link to the doc and the PDF. We're gonna watch the video though right now. This is the Baller Student Show, and it's called How to Be Successful in Remote Learning. It is for students. Give your thoughts on it in the chat as we move along. Let's do it. That's super annoying. When you are about to watch something, you think it's about to be like House of Highlights type situation. Oh my gosh! Bam! They go to something else. From now on, for the rest of this video, we'll finish everything that we started. That's the last time for sure. Got it. I wish I had spent the past 6 months like training just to like spin bats. If you do want to see me hit that computer with this baseball bat, which hasn't happened yet, by the way. If you do want to see that, you can scrub to this point in the video. But if you stick around, then you might just learn something that'll help you be more successful in remote learning. The question is, why is remote learning so difficult? Remote learning, virtual learning, online learning. Why is it so much more difficult than in person? If I'm sitting here and the class is sitting there, why is it so much harder for students to be successful in that type of environment? Remote learning is where the student and the educator or information source are not physically present in a traditional classroom environment. Information is relayed through technologies such as discussion boards, video conferencing, and online assessment. So here's the deal. We're doing everything in a different location. But that doesn't answer the question of why, as human beings, is it easier for us to learn when we're right in front of somebody. Some might say it's, oh, well, they have to learn like the technology and learn the curriculum. Yeah, that's a part of it. But I think maybe there's something else. Maybe it's something that is a little bit more difficult than just the fact that we have to learn how to use Google or some other LMS along with learning, slope-intercept form or the American Revolution. So yeah, you can bounce to that amount of time in this video, or you could stick it out and you can understand what are the two elements that relate to me as a human being and allow me to be successful in a remote learning situation. Where's my lid? Did you guys see the lid? Where did it go, George?
Well, which way did it go, George? Which way did it go?
Do you even think that remote learning is difficult? I mean, do you like remote learning? Let me know in the chat, somewhere in the comments, whatever internet thing you're on right now. On a scale of like boogers you find under the car seat to Ariana Grande, how much do you enjoy remote learning? Maybe the reason some of us lean more towards the car seat than Ariana, am I saying her name right? Ariana Grande. The reason some of us lean more towards the car seat side than the Miss Grande side is because it's something hardwired into us, like a computer. See what I did there? By the end of this video, maybe we can figure out what'll help you stay connected to your classes so that you don't go full like Tom Cruise Ghost Protocol and disappear until your teacher emails you like 3 weeks in and is like, yo bro, you haven't been in class in a while, what are you doing? So before I go King Griffey Jr. on that computer I had since college.
Swung on and belted.
Look, King Griffey Jr., this is a rookie card, whatever. No flex, mad cap. What? No, that's not right.
No flex.
It's Tarver Academy logo. Whatever. Maybe the reason that you don't feel motivated in class is because it's something hardwired into you as a human being. If we can figure out the key things that keep us motivated, that make us successful, then we can set the right goals, the right indicators to reach our maximum potential in our online classes. So before we go all Reese's Pieces on this computer, I need to go warm up. If you guys would, please watch the trailer for this new game show coming out. I'm gonna go drive to the ballpark. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Classic Bougie Ratchet. All right, so let's just jump right in like somebody off the top of a high dive. Remember, right guys? Woo, that was wild. As you guys know, this is where we give a situation and you tell if it's a classic, bougie, or ratchet. Here we go. So the first one, your teacher sets up for a 7-hour Zoom class. Classic, bougie, or ratchet?
Bougie. That's classic.
That's right, classic. It's like pulling a car with a horse, am I right, guys? Next one, giving a website and saying www dot.
Here we go. Drum roll, please.
That's ratchet.
Ratchet.
That's right, 10 seconds I'll never get back. Next one, classic, bougie, or ratchet, using the school's headphones.
Ratchet.
Ratchet.
Ratchet?
That's right, it's ratchet. I don't know where that girl ears been, that's gross. Next on classic, bougie, ratchet, the kid in class who knows the answer to everything. Hello teacher, I know the answer, call on me.
Bougie?
Classic.
Maybe a little bit of ratchet.
What we were looking for was bougie, because that person's gonna be your boss someday. Check me on it, it's true, it's true. And that's been our episode of Classic Bougie Ratchet. Thank you guys for joining us, and as always, stay bougie out there, am I right?
And cut.
Okay, seriously, why in the world am I in a pool? This makes no sense, it doesn't support anything that we're doing for the show. I mean, oh my goodness. How am I supposed to work like that? I don't have to be in the water. Water and a TV show. It's not even in the same ballpark. Before we get into the two things that make students successful, we've got to understand why aren't all students successful in it? It's like warm up. Like homework is practice, this is practice.
We talking about practice.
Have you guys ever seen the videos where people can like flip the bat? Maybe with practice, Got some pitches being thrown to me from Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan over here. It's my dad. May or may not be Nolan Ryan, no big deal. I haven't hit a baseball in like 15 years. We should be fine. That one, you don't have to show where it lands. So one of the common misconceptions people have about students that do well is that it's always the smart kids. It's always the Hermione Grangers. That's not true. Oh man. So I was the principal of a school that had 6th through 12th grade students, and we had online classes, we had in-person classes, and we had some blended. Not every student that did well was the smart kid. So we had students come into our school planning to do online that did well in the traditional classroom, and they tanked. And then we had other students who failed an entire grade. You can lean up. And then we had other students who failed an entire grade. They would come in and they would finish 2 grades in 1 year. What's the reason some of them did well in the traditional but not online, and vice versa? This is called an airmail. I mean, probably could have been done. Okay. Double hit. You get 2 points for that one. So I started doing my doctorate degree online, and I didn't feel connected. I did okay, but I was ready to quit. Every Sunday night when I was having to do the homework that was due Sunday night, because that's whenever apparently I do homework, is right before it's due. Every time I was about to do that homework, I dreaded it. And I don't say like, oh, I'm doing my doctorate, so I can say I'm doing my doctorate, like I'm not trying to humble brag. I'm telling you that I was at the point in my educational career where school should have been fine. I should have been cranking through it, but why was I struggling? Why was I not wanting to go to class and get this degree done, this last degree I've got? Why was I not wanting to get it finished? Why couldn't I just finish it, get done, and move on? Round the bases, if you will.
Wow.
So according to a 1975 study, there are 2 reasons students feel connected and will finish school. First one, academic reasons. And the second one, social reasons. Let's look at those, shall we? Home run. Boom! Ow! Elbow! Let's go hit that computer, you guys. I'm gonna need the bat. Yo, that Google Classroom slaps. When you think about it. Yeah, I know you guys are in a lot of Zoom class, but this one hits different. Yeah, I'll check that email, no cap. Here's the deal, I know you're trying to keep it 100, but that last one was like keeping it 76. So let's bring it up. Yo, that Google slide I made was the GOAT, am I right, guys? Hashtag last dance. Y'all watch that? Yo, that Google Doc you made was cash. Yeah, guys, low key, my principal, he shook. He be an extra. No cap. Was that a gaming keyboard? That's a flex, boy. Yo, I know you're saying I didn't give clear instructions, but I'm gonna clap back, RM. Jimmy, can you stop throwing some shade? Turn that video back on. Facebook, TikTok though. So here's the deal. We're talking about social and academic goals. You have to have both. Wait, where's my bat? Bat me. Bat me.
I'm Batman.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the deal. You've got social and you've got academic goals. According to Tinto, not Tito, this is Tito. This is Tinto. Very easily to get them confused. So what Tinto found was that there are certain things that attribute to students dropping out, students not succeeding in academics. So let's start with the first one, academic goals. Students have to have clear reasons for completing the degree that they're taking. Whew, do I look sweaty? What you need to do is you need to set clear academic goals. Here's my challenge to you. Write down 3 goals you have academically, either for one specific class, multiple classes, or your whole degree program, your whole level that you're trying to accomplish. Then find 2 people that you could put in a group text, because it's always stronger when there's 3. I don't know why, I'm sure there's a theory on that, but it's always stronger when there's 3. So I want you to take those 3 academic goals and put it in a group text with 2 other people. Tell them your goals, ask them their 3 goals, and then you 3 hold each other accountable. If it's just you trying to accomplish your goals, there's a good chance that you might not achieve those goals because there's no one else holding you accountable. Your teacher wants you to succeed, but they got a lot of other students they're trying to look for. Y'all ready for me to hit this thing? Well, oh wait, so I almost forgot. You've got the social as well. Okay, so I almost got hit in the face. So if we're talking about social, that's the community aspect. No, I'm not talking about the show community. Also, great show, by the way. I see you, Donald Glover.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a community that you build in your classroom. Why this is harder online, virtual, remote, why it's harder there is because you are not sitting in the exact room with these people. Now you have your teacher, and then you have 30 other buildings, 30 other facilities for that one class of 30 students, much less 150 students. So how do you feel connected with those students? It takes intentionality. It takes you focusing on having conversations with these people. Maybe that's following on Instagram. Maybe it's communicating in the discussion thread of Google Classroom. Whatever that is, you've got to find a way to get connected and find community within your class. It doesn't have to be every kid in the class that you find community with, but you got to find it with some.
It is time.
We have a computer to hit. That's not right. A computer to hit. We have a computer to hit. Wow, that was different than I'd anticipated. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Hey, it's Tyler here. I'm just gonna give you a little break. So if you need to go do something, you need to go use the restroom, get a snack, get something to eat, whatever, you can go do that. I was gonna chat with you about some stuff, give you some time to do that and check in, maybe say hi. If you want in the chat, let's do a little check-in. In the chat, how you feeling? Toss in your emoji of how you feeling right now. Let's do a little emoji checkup, if you will. So while you're doing that, I do want to give, you know what? I spent a lot of time writing this book, and I genuinely think this book is going to help you in your classroom. It's gonna inspire you more than anything. It's a read with me, and one of the things that I feel like I've never been the smartest dude in the room. I've never been, the most talented, but I'll say this, I was always been pretty approachable, I think. I think I've been approachable, and I think what this is, I've tried to be as relatable as possible. I'm talking about my experiences, things I've run into in the classroom, what I've learned as a teacher and as an administrator and as a student, what I learned. And so this is the Baller Teacher Playbook. If you're interested in checking this out, I recommend, of course I recommend, it's my book. It's not the best book on education, but I think it's good enough to help you in some way. It's got a lot of practical experience in it. I've got quotes. That's a do you boo-boo. I could have picked a better chapter. Here's one thing, I want to show you one thing that I did at the end of each chapter, because I know teachers, okay? I've put in practical application, I put in reflection, because we know reflection is important, even though we never have time to do it, but it's got spots for you to write that in, so this is something you can work on by yourself or with your team. But here's the part that I did, and this is legit just for teachers. I don't know if you can see that. I put in, at the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR. That's internet talk for too long, didn't read. So what that means is, let's say you've got a team meeting, okay? Because there's 18 chapters in here. That means you and your team, or you and your building, you can go through a chapter once a week. You meet on your planning period, spend 10 minutes talking about what you did, what you tried, what worked, what didn't work, stuff to help improve your class and improve your students. Every week you can do that. Have you ever done this? In the chat, be honest, you ready? Have you ever had a team meeting where you're supposed to read something and you're walking over to the meeting and you're like, oh no, I forgot to read the thing I'm supposed to read that we're gonna discuss for like 15 minutes. So you just try to chill and hopefully don't get called on or get called out for not reading it. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR, where in 2 to 5 bullet points, I summarize the chapter. So you could be walking to the meeting, you could read these 3 or 4 bullet points and be able to have a conversation about the entire chapter. There's stories in here, there's practical experience, there's ways that I messed up, ways that I failed, and then ways that I feel like I succeeded, and I'm just talking through what I learned from both of those. And I would love for you to learn and grow with me. So if you want to check out that book, it's on Amazon. I'll have a link on the screen if you want to get it. Link is in my bio. I link links everywhere to it. So Baller Teacher Playbook. I think it can help you in your classroom. Okay, we're about to get started. Kick back into it. Hopefully you're ready to roll, ready to go. And let's jump back in. Let's jump back in like Michael Phelps, okay? Well, does that work? Does that work? I mean, he jumps into the pool. That's what I was going for. I need to know more like high diver. High divers would have been better. I'll tell you this, we're gonna stick the landing like Carrie Strug. Y'all remember her? Carrie Strug, remember the Olympics? Georgia Olympics? Atlanta Olympics? Remember that? It's okay. It's a very narrow reference. All right, let's get started. Let's kick it off. Let's jump back in. Get your notes out. Get your screens pulled up. Get your coffee ready. Get your ice water. Your sweet tea. If you're from Arkansas like me, you know you like that sweet tea. And we're about to kick it off. Here we go. Let's get back in it. Let's get back in it. I'll see you guys. Man, okay. All right, here we go. So my name is still Tyler, and if you were like, oh man, I'm hearing him in these little short segments or these little videos, all these clips and all this stuff, where he's talking, he's walking around like, hey, what's up guys? That's me. I'm sorry, I don't know why I picked up the camera. So you're gonna get the chance to hear some thoughts from me on how to be a baller teacher. So coming up is, it's me. So I don't really want to introduce myself. I'm just gonna stop talking here and start talking on the video. How to be a baller teacher. I hope you like it. What's up? Hey guys, my name is Tyler Tarver, and before I get started, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a graduate of Bauxite High School, and I actually am on the campus today because one, the school means a lot to me. I went here, I loved my time here, graduated, left, went to college, went to work at a school teaching, and then I came back here and got my first admin job and got to work with some incredible people. And so I thought it would only be appropriate if the first time I recorded and did this baller teacher version of this talk I do on how to be a baller teacher, if I did it for you guys here. So as we explore a little bit of the amazing campus, I want to hit some points with you that I think can help you shape the culture in your classroom. As you guys know, because I say it on like every video ever, I went to college to be a history and political science major, and then I got a job teaching high school math, like all history and political science teachers plan on doing. And so I got out, started teaching math, loved it, and then I got into administration. I became a facilitator and then a tech director and a principal of a school. And then I got to work in central office, work with curriculum instruction, a lot of other things. And I got to work with so many different kinds of educators. And now I am the dean of NLC College, and I love the community, I love the students, I love the people I get to work with there. And I know a lot of you guys love the people you work with, and I know a lot of you love your students, or else you wouldn't be in education. And if you are in education and you don't love your students, spoiler alert, everybody knows that because you're miserable and it shows, and your students know that. So what I want to talk to you about today is how to be a baller teacher, how to empower your students, how to be creative, not only get a spark out of your students in the classroom, but hopefully reinvigorate you and get a spark in you maybe you just haven't seen in a while because you've been bored, to be honest. You've been bored with education, or you're caught up in the grind of it, or this whole transition with everything going online has been a struggle and you're still trying to adapt to it. So I'm gonna throw some stuff at you through this. You can agree, you can disagree, you can use it, you can not, okay? That's the whole point of a conference, it's the whole point of a speaker. You get things, you get inspired, or you get resources and ideas, you implement them or you don't. I'm not your boss, you do what you want. Also, I am the person who has this Tarver Academy YouTube channel. And Tarver Academy is not an accredited school. It's a fake school, and you're thinking, oh well, Tarver Academy, I've heard of Khan Academy. Are you guys related? I'd say, nay, Academy is not my last name, and it's also not Khan's last name. It's the name of like people use for a school. I will tell you this, Khan and I are really close friends. We're real tight, and if you don't believe me, check this out. Boop. There's us hanging out at a conference, best friends forever with boys. So as we kick this off, we're gonna go to some different locations, but I wanted to start here. I wanted to start here because this is a school bus, as many of you guys know, and I think school buses are an amazing indicator of the variety of students that you have in your classroom. I'm gonna give you ideas, I'm gonna tell you thoughts, stories, experiences of my teaching career, and you're gonna think, well, that doesn't apply to this student or this student. It doesn't, because all students are different And that's the point. Every student is different, and I think the amazing thing about great teachers is that they know that, they identify that. I want to introduce you to 3 students of varying ages that I have had a connection with at some point in their educational career. So not only do they differ in personality, but in age, experiences, and what they love about school. So the first one, this young lady, her name is Jalen. Jalen actually attends our school at NLC College, and I remember a couple years ago, she was actually in the honors college at a nearby school. It's a great school. She was going there on an honors scholarship, and she was meeting with me and she was talking to me, and she was talking about how she was on a full ride. Everything was paid for, and she was wanting to transfer to our school. What is driving you to switch from a pretty prestigious school where you are doing great academically and people love being around you? What is making you want to switch? And she told me that she's had the opportunity to be around some of our students, and she just absolutely loves the community that she's found with those students, and she wants to be even more engrossed in that community, the people, and the things that we do at our school. She connects with it. She resonates with it. Now, did every student that was in the honors college there transfer to our school? No, but she did. Jalen did, because Jalen connected with it. As you teach, you connect with different students. Different students connect with you and your classroom and your activities and the way you joke and the way you give homework and the activities you get. They love that. They love the community in your classroom, and some they don't connect with it, and that's okay. Okay, because the big thing is that you find students that you do connect with. This second young man, his name is Titus. Titus is going into 4th grade, and Titus is very smart, very intellectually gifted. He can memorize things. Titus recently memorized every president in order. Why did he do this? Because I heard there was a local election that was on TV. He started asking his dad about the political stuff, just asking questions asking about presidents, and then he came up with a game about presidents. And it was, you just name the presidents. And him and his dad and then other people at the party, they were sitting there trying to see who could name the most presidents. So what he did for the next 3 days was he memorized the presidents in order. He didn't have to do this, but he is driven by that competition of it, that thing that he had a little spark on, and he was driven by, and that's his personality. Now, don't we kind of wish all students were like that when it came to like our homework? That would be great. Okay, and this last young man, his name is Finnick. Finnick actually is, he is 4 years old, and he goes to the daycare next to NLC College. And he has this great personality, and he connects with our college students in a way because they love seeing him. And whenever they see him, they always yell his name and they want him to come to him. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But once he understands them and he knows that he can trust them, he'll walk up and act like they're best friends and take them on an adventure and tell them about stories, about toys, and whatever it is he's showing them from the nearby daycare. And so I just wanted to highlight these 3 young people and how different they are in what they look at when they go to school and how they connect with people and what drives them. And I think that we have to keep in mind that no matter what we do, we're not going to resonate with every student in our class, but we can resonate with some. So I want to give you some ideas on how to make your classroom even more engaging, empowering, and fun for you and your students. Let's go to the first spot. So, fun fact about my high school. I went here from 7th grade through 10th grade, and then in 10th grade, our school burned down to the ground. So we lived in portables my 11th grade year. 12th grade year, my senior year, we were the first seniors in this building. First time it ever opened, we're in it. This is my locker. I was in here, brand new lockers. I even gave a speech at the start of the school year because I was a student council vice president, no, regular president. I was student council president. Humble brag, am I right, guys? Calm down, Tyler. So I had to give a speech, and I was like, hey, don't mess stuff up. It's a new building, blah, 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 be nice. I don't remember what I said. I just remember that I wrote my notes on my arm because I was a great president. I did not like having to take the time to turn all those numbers in between classes. I wanted to like talk to girls or my friends or whatever, goof around. So what we would do is we would take a penny and we would jam that penny right here inside this lock so that it would shut, but then, okay, that's locked now. It would shut, but then we can open it. So it would look shut to anybody that's walking by because nobody's just like walking by pulling lockers. And then we can walk up, pretend like we're doing this, and then we just open it. I don't have to like type in a code. I can just open my locker, which now I can't. I had one of my teachers, my English teacher, she popped out and she saw me just open it. I guess I forgot to pretend like I was unlocking. She goes, is your locker broken? I go, no, it works great. She goes, did it just open without the lock on it? I was like, oh, no, it was just like loose or something. She walked over and looked at it, opened it up, saw that I'd put the penny in it, straight up lied to her, and she sent me onto the office and told me not to do that again. So I waited at least a week before I ever did that again because I'm a respectful president. All right, guys? Do you enjoy when your students lie to you? I would vote no, you do not. So this topic I want to talk about is called line in the sand. We all have heard that term. You draw a line in the sand, you don't cross it. When you make the rules and procedures for your classroom, you are drawing a line in the sand, okay? A very easy way to visualize this for most teachers is they don't allow students behind their desk, okay? So they'll tape a line leading up to their desk and they say nobody can cross that yellow line. But then, they have a friend who's a teacher and then their friend's kid is in their class and, after school the kid and your kid will hang out and they'll go behind the desk and they'll watch movies on their phones or whatever it is so they feel comfortable. Okay, I was the teacher's kid, so I used to do that too. We'd had snakes in my mom's desk and she'd find them during class. She didn't like that. Don't do that, okay? But we would get comfortable and hang out in those classes. When you are a teacher and you tell those students, nobody can cross that tape line, but then during your third period class, your friend's kid steps over that line. Not only did they actually step over the figurative line in the sand that you drew, your rules, they've actually stepped over that tape. You must enforce the rules that you set for your class. If you tell your class, you do this, this will happen. You step over that tape line, you will get detention. If you don't give those students detention that step over that line, you have in effect lied to your class. You have shown that you do not have equal requirements for your students. How would you feel if your principal did that? Some principals do that. How do you feel when they do that to you? How do you feel when your principal sets standards and not everybody has to abide by it, but then they enforce it when it's applied to you? You are doing that to your students. Now in our head we justified, oh, I know their parents or they're a good kid or, that's my teacher's aide, whatever it is. If you let that happen, the other students see it and they will start thinking that the rest of your rules and procedures are options as well. Or maybe there are options for certain students that you like or that are friends with your kid or whatever rules you're not enforcing. If you make a rule for your class, you have to abide by that rule. Now, sometimes you need to change a rule. Say you set something, you set a procedure up or you set a rule up for your class and you realize early on, this is not good this is not an equitable rule for my class. I can't abide by this or it just doesn't fit. You can change the rules later. You just have to let your students know why you changed the rule. You have to communicate with them. You have to communicate clearly with them. If they don't know, if you just change it, they don't know the rules were changed. Here's how I used to handle my class. I'll give you my example. You do yours. This is what I used to do, okay? I had a 5-part procedure for students. There were only 5 levels you could reach if you got in trouble in my class. If you're not paying attention, you're not doing your work, or you're talking while I'm trying to teach or do something, then you got your initials on the top corner of the board. I don't know if that's allowed in your school, but I would put their initials. Didn't address them, didn't talk to them, didn't even look at them. I would just write their initials and keep teaching. They did not slow down my class. That was my rule. I will not allow the students in my class to impede the learning for the other students. So I would just write their initials and keep rolling. Sometimes they saw it, but most of the time they're not paying attention or they're talking, so they don't see it, but their friends see it, and they would tell them, hey, so-and-so, little Jimmy, you got your initials on the board. They knew that was the warning because they knew the clear procedures. Second step, if they acted up, little Jimmy acted up in the same class, then I would keep teaching, I would walk over and I would grab a piece of paper. It was a salmon-colored piece of paper. They would put their name, the class period, time of the incident, and there were 3 questions. What were you doing? What should you have been doing? And then what are you going to do to prevent this from happening in the future? They have a signature line and date at the bottom. I have a signature line and date. They don't have the tension. They just have to fill it out. I'd walk over. I would pick it up. I would keep teaching. I would set it on their desk. They knew what they had to do. They had to fill it out and sign it before they left class. If they had an issue with it, we could discuss that after class. We're not taking up class time for it. Now, let's say they kept going. They get that paper. They act up before the class gets out. This is like 3rd strike in class. Same thing. I go get another one. They have to fill it out again, and then they will also see me in afternoon detention. 4th, if they mess up 4 times in that class, they will go see the principal. I would send a student to the principal twice a year max, because I gave clear, actionable steps to their discipline if they acted up in my class. They knew the expectations. I tried my best to be consistent with them. And then if they ever stepped over those lines, they got one of those issues, okay? Most of your students that are good students that are just having a crazy day or they're hyper or whatever, at the first one, they don't like getting in trouble, so they don't do anything. You don't have to follow through. They're not in a lot of trouble. They just got a warning. Their initials, they move on. The rest, this area, that middle no man's land, they usually stop right there. Very seldom did I have to send a student to the principal's office. And when I did, because I only did it once or twice a year, they knew it was serious and they took it serious. Now the fifth one, if they reach the fifth one, that means that they've got to go to Mordor. It's this crazy thing where you have to like gather up. There's like this fellowship at this dude's house, and you take this ring. It's probably going to be like, I don't know, 3 movies long, and ends with like, Smeagol, you know, whatever. I don't know. It could end any way it was. We never had it happen. Actually, I had it happen once. Peter Jackson, I think that was the kid's name. So I want to throw this out there. Discipline does not have to be an issue for your class if you have student engagement. You do not have to worry about students not paying attention in your class if you have their full attention in the project they're working on. So make your activities. The best discipline is to make what you're doing in class so enthralling to the students, so engaging, so quick and fast paced that students do not have time to zone out and not do what they're supposed to be doing. Chew on that. Chew on that. What's up, guys? Look at this, it's a soccer field. Look at us, look at us. Whew, okay, let's talk about some, what's the next point? I need a second. You've got to learn to trust your students. Are they gonna mess up? Absolutely they are. They absolutely are. But you know what they're gonna do? If you give them a place to learn and grow, they can get better. How are they supposed to learn to be on their own if you don't trust them? Think about this, okay? Let's apply this to you. Think of your supervisor. Think of a principal that you have or have had, a superintendent you have or have had, a boss at a job that you have or have had. Why am I saying that have or have had? So weird. Think of a boss, a supervisor. What kind of supervisor do you like? Do you like a supervisor who's like, walk into your classroom while you're teaching and they sit in the back and they watch and like, oh, okay, yeah, that's okay. And they're watching, you could tell they're looking around, they're looking at the students' work. And then they kind of stand up and they're like, teacher, can you, how about you do this? Like, how about you go and you do an activity like this? It would work if you did that. And you're like, oh, okay, we can adapt the activity. And then they walk around, they're talking to the students, they're helping them. And they go, okay, how about this, guys? Let me show you this way to work this. And they go to the board and they work it. And they go, how about this? Teacher, could you stand up here? Could you wear this mask of my face and then do this assignment exactly like I would do it? You don't want that. No teacher in the world wants somebody who's gonna micromanage them. Yes, they want clear direction. Yes, they want leadership. Yes, they want ideas. But no, they don't want you to do it for them, because if you think that you have the perfect way to do it, what's the need for that teacher to be there? Think of this with your students. Whenever you have your students and if you micromanage them, you are the leader in the classroom. You are the supervisor in their classroom. If you micromanage them, that gives them no leeway to find out if there's a leader within them. Let me tell you a story, okay? So, whenever I was teaching high school math, one of my class periods, I would have to leave my class and go to the ALE. Alternative Learning Environment, if you don't know what that is. So, I had to go to a PD one day, so I filmed myself the day before teaching the math lesson because I didn't want to lose a day of math. And the students were going to watch that video, and at the end, I give them their assignment. They work on it, and then we go on. I answer some help questions at the beginning of the next class, and we move on. We don't lose a day. It's not a wasted day because I'm gone. Well, the substitute got a little bit confused on the instructions, and the substitute did not show back up for my 5th period class. After they left and went to the ALE, they got mixed up on when lunch was, and they didn't show back up. So my class, about 10 minutes into class, this on-level geometry class is sitting there looking around, and they're like, does anybody know what we were supposed to do today for class? And then one of the students was like, well, I heard somebody said that Tarver made a video and we were gonna watch it and there's an assignment. So they went up to the laptop that was sitting by the projector, and this is before laptops had like the login stuff, because I'm an old teacher, okay, sorry. You didn't have to log in. So they opened it up, they found the file, they hit play. When that substitute teacher came in the last 5 minutes of class, you know what they did? They walked in on a class that was working, that was sitting there in silence, working on their assignment, trying to understand it. Everybody was quiet except for one young lady who had already finished her assignment and was now helping another student. Now, would this have happened in every single one of my classes? Absolutely not. I'd bet a lot of money that it would not have. But it happened in this class. You know why? Because this class and I had a rapport. I had built up trust in them. I had told them how important they were, how great a class they were. I praised them whenever they did something good. You have to trust your students. You have to show them that you think they can do things without you. If you act like you're the hero in the class, like they can't function without you, then they're gonna think they cannot function without you. You've got to let them be the hero. You are the guide in this story. I'm sweating. Can I? Oh, I like put this headband on. It's like sweaty. Now, you might think, Tyler, why did you come to this football field? Here's why. My friend Matt, he's a soccer coach. He can coach them, he can teach them, he can do everything in his power to train those young people to be ready on that soccer field. Whenever a coach sends those players on the court or the field, there's a moment where that coach, their work is done. Their preparation is beforehand. It's what they've done leading up to that to get those students ready to take this on by themselves. So keep that in mind when you are talking to your class. Give them the ability to try and lead, to try and fail and learn from it, and you guide them. You have to trust them, and they'll know if you do or you don't. Next spot. Real, I am sweating out here. Can I wear this for a minute, or is that tacky? It's okay. Makes it better if you kick stuff. Boom. Home run. So a lot of you might not wear this headband. That's me. That's my thing. I like this whenever I'm sweating. I also wear it as a mask if, I don't know, there's a worldwide pandemic, but it's something that I enjoy wearing and I keep around my neck a lot and on my wrist. Some of you would not do that. You know why? Because it feels weird. It's not authentic to you. This is a section of the talk I like to call Do You Boo Boo. That is quoted from Milli Vanilli because they were the most authentic group of their time. That's probably not true. Here's the thing about students. Students nowadays have a superpower. Their superpower has been bred out of years of them being on social media and the internet. Every time you get on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any website, what is the first thing you see within 3 posts or on the left of every single website you go to? You see ads. And you know ads are smart. You're like talking to your spouse about, I don't know, a new broom handle, and then what do you know? Brand new brooms available at Amazon.com. You're like, how did you know? These students have been on these social media platforms their whole life. They can tell and spot an ad a mile away. Whereas our grandmother might be like, oh wow, where are those 90s teen idols now today? I want to go see where the cast of The Sandlot is. And they go and click on it and boom, 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 it's a ton of spam on their computer. But young people, they know when something's not real. They know when something is authentic. Whenever you are teaching, you have to be authentic to yourself. Do not try to be somebody you are not. Be yourself and then try to figure out a way to mold that into your classroom teaching because you will have students that connect with that style of teaching. I'm gonna give you an example. Whenever I was teaching high school math, I would also, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I would drive to North Little Rock and I would tutor students from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I would have students in either groups of anywhere from 2 to 5, and we would work. So these students have to go to school all day and learn, and then they get to come work with me in 2-hour chunks on either English or math, okay? Not what you would call their favorite after-school activity. However, what I would do is I would try to find ways to motivate them to be more engaged in it, to be excited, to want to learn for just a little bit. Would you rather have a student fully engaged for an hour and a half or not engaged at all for 2 hours? I think we'd all take an hour and a half of full engagement. So I've got a video example. This is something I did. I had a couple students. They were doing that thing with their pen. You know the pen where you click it? I don't have a pen so I can't show you, but they you know, they were tapping their pen, and like in my brain would like start swelling, like, please stop clicking your pen, all right? And they would start tapping on the desk. Well, I thought, okay, they're into that. I like making videos because I was making videos for my YouTube channel. And so I thought, okay guys, because we talked about YouTube, we talked about all this stuff. I said, all right guys, I got a deal for you. Because I could tell 10 minutes into us doing this tutoring session, they weren't having it. I said, guys, if you will focus for an hour and a half, the last 20 to 30 minutes of class, of the tutoring session, we are going to write a song and we're going to play it. You can tap your pens and we'll film it. I'll put it on my YouTube channel if your parents are okay with it. They were like, okay, we'll do it. That sounds cool. Yeah, it'll be fun to be on YouTube. I was like, all right, let's go. Because this is like 2010. Like YouTube was a thing that not everybody was on. So, which by the way, YouTube's free. You can start a YouTube channel. You should. You have a voice, put it out there. So I helped write a song. I wrote a song and then we all rapped it together. And I'll show it to you here in a second. Why don't we watch it right now? Go ahead, here it is. Hey, hello, my name is Tyler. Hope you're having a good day. I'm doing work because I ain't got no time to play. Sitting here spitting with my boys, I think they name is Trey. Playing checkers, guess what's runners, bases where they like to stay. I don't know a lot about rap, but they said that I'm okay. Cause I ain't got no money, high interest is how I pay. Like Harry Potter making magic out of clay. I'm also losing my hair, but at least the things are not great. Y'all like two girlfriends, I say yes and nay. I'm not gonna be rude, introduce myself and say, hey, y'all like Eminem and Justin Bieber, I'm like Dre. We all be best friends until the month of May. We can all get some ice cream or eat a steak, I'll get filet. And this is where I'm gonna change the beat, and I'm gonna change it around with everything. You keep going, and I'm gonna just change the words, because I was rhyming with okay, and now I'm gonna switch up. Okay, I know for a fact that everyone's okay with my words. Now it's time to see if they are okay with your words. You go when you are ready.
The girls call me Jade and they rate me a 10. I chase the ladies down like the new Pac-Man. I got my pants pulled up so my chain hang low. If you hate what Tyler did, then you gon' love my flow.
Yeah, now it's my turn. You guys stop talking, because I'm really good, and everybody's in my hood. Everybody likes me. My rap is so good. Everybody want to be like me. Where you guys going? Don't you want to hear me rap again? I think you would really like it if I rhyme with other words. How about stuff like words? I can rhyme with words. Improvisation is how, hey, can we still, you want to go play basketball? You can start rapping whenever you are ready. I'm ready, you're ready, you are ready.
Oh my God.
Start rapping, y'all.
Hey.
Okay, so as you can tell, I am not what you would call good at singing or staying on beat or rhythm, okay? I don't pretend to be. I lean into it. That is not my personality. My personality is not musically inclined. However, I knew what they like to do because I had talked to them, built rapport, and so I tried to incorporate the things that I genuinely enjoyed doing, which was writing rhymes and trying to be witty or writing puns or whatever it was, and I tried to incorporate that into something they liked, which was music. Now, did it lead to me sounding exactly like Drake? No, because I'm not very good at singing a rhythm. However, we built something and made something that was really cool and fun to do, and we got an hour and a half of learning, focused learning out of it. Connect with your students, but be authentic to who you are. Don't pretend to be something you are not. Hallway, let's go. This is the field where I was an administrator. I would come out here and I had what is called game duty for admin. So I would have to stand here and watch games, and it was fun. I like to enjoy watching games, but it's like an unwritten rule, I think. At every sporting event, you have to have a group of middle school kids causing mayhem and mischief somewhere in the corner, okay? So let's say, oh, we wanna go over and throw this bottle, we wanna play, and you're like standing there, just watching the game, enjoying yourself, making sure, nothing's acting crazy. You look in the corner, you go over there and you look and you're like, oh, what's that in the corner? Oh, it's 4 middle school kids. And what are they doing? They got some kid in a headlock, they're flipping bottles, old people are dodging, fighting for their life because kids are just acting like Lord of the Flies over here with these kids. So as an administrator, you see them, you're like, okay, I gotta go correct that. Now, here's the trick. As you start walking over, you start looking as an administrator. You start looking for who is the leader here? Who is running this show? Spoiler alert, it's never the kid in the headlock. It's not even the kid holding him in a headlock. You know who it is? It's the kid behind the kid holding the headlock, telling them what to do. Hey, do this. Hey, why don't y'all do this? Hey guys, what if we did this? And they stand back because they know when somebody walks up, that admin walks up to tell them to quit, they're like, oh, I wouldn't do anything. I was completely innocent in this. That is the leader in that situation. Now, right now, he is not a leader for good. Nay, he is a leader for evil. So what I do, this is what I would do. I would walk up on that group, go, hey guys, here's the deal. We can't be throwing stuff. We can't be fighting. Somebody could get hurt. And you know, it's a really long ways to the hospital. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I want you guys to be safe, but also you could hurt somebody else by throwing stuff. So if you guys could, we can't fight anymore. Y'all can sit and talk and hang out, but we can't get rowdy like that. And then I would find the student that I had identified on my walk over there as the leader. And I'd look him in the eyes and I'd go, hey, you're in charge. Can you make sure that nothing ever happens like that again while you're over here on your watch? He's like, yeah. I go, hey, I'm counting on you. Can you be in charge of this group of young people and make sure that none of that stuff happens again? And they go, yes, sir, I can take it. Now, 9 times out of 10, they would accept this challenge. You know why? Because I trusted them. I took it and I flipped it without any like prior relationship of knowing this student or having rapport. I know that this student is a leader because I saw it over there, and I've turned their leadership skills over, and I've made it to where they are now leading these kids for good. So keep that in mind next time you have a young person in your class that is challenging you, that you can tell like they've got a little group of cronies. Start working on that relationship, because if you can turn that one leader, you can turn the whole group, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's look at this. This right here, this is Minor Academy. This is where I was a principal, and you're gonna meet later today in one of the other sessions, you're gonna meet Joshua Harrison, who became the principal here after me at this school. And I love this school within our district, Minor Academy, because it opened up opportunities for students to learn in ways that it wasn't normal then. 2013, you didn't have students that came half the day or they were working from home. Spoiler alert, yeah, that's something people do a lot now. So I want to talk to you about one of the things that we incorporated here that I think you can incorporate in whatever classroom you're in, okay? Collaboration. Collaboration. I'm not just talking about with other teachers or other places. I got to collaborate as a principal with the students. Whenever we were starting the school, it was new. Nobody knew what it was going to become or what could it become or what kind of students fit here best. And so whenever we had students come in that wanted to try it out, I collaborated with them to get their thoughts on it. Now, you might not be starting a whole new school, but every year you start a new classroom. So I want to talk to you about what I used to call Mr. Tarver's Phenomenal 9. That's right, stole it straight from Ron Clark. What is it, Ron Clark's Essential 55 or Special 8 or Super 8? I don't remember what he called it, but I called mine the Phenomenal 9. I did this every year in class. Now, I had 9 rules. It's Phenomenal 9. I would pitch them, hey guys, we're gonna have 9 rules we have for this class that we are gonna uphold. They're things that we value. These are like our core values for our class. How much more do you care about rules, values, when you start a school, when you write the charter for a new school, when you're in the PPC, whenever you are a part of the people that help make those rules, how much more invested are you in that organization, in that program, in that initiative? You are so much more invested because it's yours. It's something you helped create. I wanted that same ownership with my students. So what I would do is I would say, all right guys, so you're gonna get assignments every day. What is something that we should value as a class whenever we hand out assignments? And then we just start going. I'm like, okay, what do you got? And then Jimmy will be like, we shouldn't have to do it. And I'm like, all right, good try, Jimmy. We'll start there. That's a good try. Let's keep rolling from that. Sally, what do you got? She's like, maybe when you hand out assignments, we work on them in class. Boom. Sally, you're onto something. Let's talk about that. Okay, how should we word that? And the students would help me create the rules for the class. So 2 months later, when I hand out a worksheet and nobody's working on it, or 2 students aren't working on it, I can walk up to them and go, hey, do you remember that rule that we all agreed to and we all signed off on? Because I made them sign it like a contract at the end of that first day, we did the syllabus. They signed it, they agreed to it. I would show them their signature and they'd be like, okay. And they wouldn't want to do it, but guess what? More times than not, they would work on it because they were a part of helping create them. I'm gonna give you another one we did. You ready? Don't be a little whiny baby, okay? Not the best wording, but I'd let the students help. Students, believe it or not, are also annoyed when their classmates complain about every single assignment every single day. We all have got that one kid that sits there, he's like second from the back, he sits there and stares. The only time he says a word in class is when he's complaining about something. So the students said, you know what? We don't want little Jeffrey to sit there and complain, so we're gonna make a rule that says, don't be a little whiny baby. If we're gonna do work, we're gonna do work. We're not gonna be people that complain about doing work. And what I would always do is I would try to throw something in that would build a connection. It didn't really matter. It was almost like an inside joke with the students. Absolutely no mentioning Hayden Christensen. You're like, who's Hayden Christensen? Do you remember Star Wars episodes 2 and 3? Probably not. You know why? Because Hayden Christensen was in it. Hayden Christensen ruined Star Wars. He's not gonna ruin our class. And it was something like, I'm fine. I have nothing against Hayden. Hayden, if you're watching, I have nothing against you. You're a fine actor, okay? Now, do I think Will Smith would have done a better job? Absolutely, okay? He was too old, I get it, blah, blah, blah. However, it was something that we could joke about as a class. And so like we'd be talking and they'd be like, the movie Jumper came out. I was like, who's in Jumper? Hayden Christensen. I was like, how dare they mention thy name? Rule number 4, no mentioning Hayden Christensen. One time I walked into my class and every teacher has like that shelf behind their desk. It's like, you got senior pictures of kids who's like, their kids are now in school. You've got little knickknacks that kids have made and like pictures of your kid from 10 years before. They're like, they're not a baby anymore. Whatever. It's like your museum of being a teacher behind your desk. I walked into class one time and I looked up and I saw the students had printed off an 8x10 photo of Hayden Christensen. Now, whoa, did that break a rule? So what I did was, do I care? No, but we had fun with it. I put that up on my board, like that little tray. I put caution tape over it. Who brought Hayden Christensen into that classroom? Did it matter? No. Was it fun? Yeah, we had fun. And it was a great memory that they probably remember a lot better than whatever I taught them on a random Thursday, the 3rd week of their 10th grade year of school. So this classroom right here, this was my 9th grade physical science class. I was fine at most every subject. I was okay. I was like average across the board. My least favorite by far was science. I did not like science. I did not see how I was gonna use that for any career that I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't think I was gonna use it for any of those careers. But I had to learn it. I had to do it. I walked into that class, I sat down, and I had to listen to a teacher tell me why I needed to do it because I needed it for my credit for my high school graduation and I needed that to get a job or whatever it was I wanted to do. We as teachers, how often are we handed down a program that we don't see the necessity for it in the moment? How many times are we given oh, you gotta learn this system or, put this report or put this information in or do this or run this or print this lesson plan. You have to go and do all these extra steps that you don't see are directly related to what you want, which is teaching, okay? It might not be your favorite subject within the realm of what you do as an educator, but it's still something that you're required to do. We ask our students to go from class to class, from subject to subject, and learn all these different things that they might not see the importance of. And yet, how often do you project that you don't want to learn something that is handed down to you in front of your students? You are an influencer in your classroom. Your students see how you respond to new learning. They will see how you struggle with this new technology. I don't want to learn this Chromebook, or what does this iPad even do with this? I don't see why I need to learn how to edit this video or how to create this podcast. They see you not wanting to take that step forward with that technology, and what that does is that translates to them and how they are accepting what you're trying to teach them. You're saying, I don't want to learn this because I don't see how it's applicable, or it's too hard, or I don't get it. I'm not a technology person. Do not say, I am bad at technology. Don't say, I'm bad at math. When a student in my class said, I am bad at math, I said, no, you are not. You are always getting better. Whenever you say, I'm just not good with technology. Yes, you are, and you're always getting better. Some of us might start at different levels with where we are with stuff, learning programs or teaching or pedagogy or classroom management, but as long as you don't give up and say, I'm bad at it, I can't ever get it, that's just who I am, I can't do that. As long as you work towards getting better, as long as you're learning and growing and asking questions and failing and moving forward, it is never final. It is always something that you can get better at, as long as you never stop learning. If you do that, your students will see that and it'll start leaking into how they treat your class. But they have to see it in you first. Try things, fail at things. We are too often used to being the expert when we stand up and deliver curriculum in our classes. Don't pretend to be the expert. Be a student that guides these other students. You're learning how to do these things. You're learning new programs. You're learning new ways to teach. And you're encouraging your students to learn new things and try new things and fail and learn and succeed. Science. Science is fine, okay? I see it's fine. Physical science is just, the class was fine. Sorry, Jordan. First try. So we all have activities. We all have things that we do in our classroom that inspire students, they educate students, they motivate students, ways that we go about that not every teacher does. They're authentic to us, that's specific to us. It's things that we've developed over the years. And we also have a personality that connects with people. One of the things that I think discourages teachers is that they can't connect with all of their students. A good teacher wants to resonate with all their students. Now, we might not all be like, oh, I'm a baller teacher, or oh, I connect with you on this, or oh, I can play basketball, or I can hit a shot like this. But one thing we can do is we can all connect with our students. Students don't need you to be cool. They don't need you to be, fly. They don't need you to be baller. They need you to care about them. Think of people whenever they become famous, whenever they become successful. Michael Jordan, I just watched The Last Dance. He talks about the people that inspired him to be great. His UNC college coach, his dad, different people in his life that inspired him to be better. And then there were people that challenged him, people that said he couldn't do something, or oh, they would trash talk to him, and that inspired him to be better. Whenever you hear successful people talk about how they became successful, and they talk about their teachers, they usually only talk about two different ways that their teachers led them to greatness. Either one, they inspired them to be better because they trusted in them and they told them they were good, they were worthy, they could do this, they had the skills. Maybe math's not for you, but you're gonna be an entrepreneur because of how you work with other people, how inventive you are. You may not be some scientist, or you might not write a novel, but you are gonna connect and you're gonna go out and work outside with your hands, and you're gonna have friends, and you're gonna build relationships with people and be a great leader on whatever department, whatever field you go into. Or two, the other way that teachers inspire students to do better is by saying they're not good enough, saying that they can't do it, saying that they're not going to be successful. Be the teacher who inspires your students to be better. Do you remember that kid, Titus, that I talked about at the beginning? Titus, the one that learned all the presidents in order. I love Titus. You know why? Because he's my oldest son. I was sitting there with him and we were watching some stuff on TV, and he wanted to get in a quiz about presidents. I know Titus's personality, so whenever he wanted to play a game about how many presidents we could remember, I played it because I knew that would challenge him to want to learn more. I understand Titus because I invest in Titus. I get to know Titus and how he is as a learner, and I care about him enough that I want to push him a little bit further along every single day in what he knows and what he's trying to know. Finnick. You remember talking about Finnick earlier? I care about Finnick because Finnick's my youngest son. Finnick, I know, connects with people whenever he knows that I trust them. So whenever I interact with my students at NLC College, I always talk to them, I joke around with them. Students like Jalen, students like all these other students that we have, I talk to them. When he sees that I trust them, he starts trusting because he trusts me. That connection leads to another connection to where then he wants to play with trucks with them or share his Cheez-Its or whatever that he's got. Titus and Finnick are not guaranteed to get this investment from me. I choose to love those two kids. I choose to invest in those two kids. I choose to teach those two kids. You choose to teach each and every student in your classroom. You choose to invest in them. You choose to stick with them whenever it's difficult and they don't get it. You choose to learn how they learn and help them get a little bit closer to achieving their goals. You choose to be a baller teacher. That wasn't even close. I'm so sorry. We're here. We're at the last session. Guys, Last session today, I've got my friend Seth Tomboli coming at you with helping you win in the classroom, okay? We all can use a little help. Being an educator is tough. It's a lot of work. You have literally the biggest job on the planet because you are training every human for every job. It's not like, oh, I'm going to train you to do this. We're training them for literally every job in the world, okay? Every student coming through could be a plethora of jobs or not jobs, depending on, how lazy they want to be. You know what? Gamers are job people too, if they're getting paid. What am I even talking about? Okay, so I'm going to stop talking because I want to let Seth take it away. Thank you guys. Please pay attention to him. He's going to try to teach you how to win in the classroom. Check him out. Check out his podcast, the Helping You Win podcast. And let's go. Seth, get us going. Last session, let's roll. Let's do this. Let's finish strong. Everybody, let's finish strong.
Hey, what is up? Man, I'm excited to spend some time with you today, wherever you're watching this from. I just want to say welcome. I am filming this in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm part of a church here in the area, and I'll tell you a little bit about me before we dive in. I think we're going to have some fun today, even though you may believe that development and ongoing development in your life personally, the way that you teach in the classroom, that may seem boring to some, but it is actually something that I am very passionate about, and I'm going to share a little bit about that today. My name is Seth Tomboli, and I currently am serving as a pastor, and on the side, I run a podcast called Helping You Win. And I love watching and helping and equipping and developing people so that they can win in their business, they can win in their family, they can win in their life, they can win in ministry, whatever it may be. But specifically today, I want to talk about a few things. One of them is how to win in the classroom. I know that you're teaching students maybe everywhere from 6th grade all the way up to 12th grade. Maybe you're a college professor as well. I believe that this can help you regardless of what age you teach specifically. I also own a leather business on the side, and so I have a very entrepreneurial bent about me, and I absolutely love to make things with my hands. But I'll say it again, my favorite thing to do in life is help other people, which is what we're doing today. I'm definitely not an expert. I have spent a lot of time in ministry, but I also spent a little bit of time teaching, and I'll tell you about that. My goal today is that when you walk away from your laptop or from whatever screen you're watching this on, that you would feel that there has been value added to your life. And that you could take, maybe it's just 1% of this, maybe the rest of it is just completely not useful for you. I believe that all of us can learn and that we can grow if we're open to the people who are teaching us. And so I've had a variety of teaching experience, coaching experience, pastoring experience. I've pastored 6th through 12th grade students for almost 10 years, and I love it. So that's 6th through 12th grade, college students, young adults, and now I am pastoring adults, and I absolutely love it. It's been a lot of fun. But before ministry, I was actually a teacher. I was getting ready to become a baseball coach. That's what I did. I played baseball my whole life, played a little bit of college baseball, and I was preparing to become a teacher. And I was convinced that I was going to teach like PE or like lunch. That's probably all that I was going to be able to do. And I'm kidding, obviously. But I wanted to coach baseball. I wanted to help athletes, and I wanted to help students like I was helped when I was in high school and junior high. Now, I also was a substitute teacher. And when I was substitute teaching, I just learned quickly if I bring earplugs for all the students, it's a lot more peaceful in the classroom. Nobody can hear each other. You can talk as loud as you want. I've got earplugs in. I didn't really do that. But I definitely thought about doing that several times, and that's a hack for you as a teacher. I was an awful student, okay? I just want to get that out in the open. Junior high, high school, I went back and spoke in classrooms where I saw the teachers who taught me during college, going back into high schools, junior highs, middle schools, and I had to go to the teacher and apologize before I even began the teaching. Or if I was in an auditorium, I would find teachers who I had disrespected or lied to, or I cheated in their classroom, okay? Yes, I cheated a little bit, all right? Show me some grace. But where I learned to communicate to people was I worked for a nonprofit where I would go into high schools, junior highs, middle schools, maybe even some of your classrooms. And if that's the case, I'm sorry in advance for anything weird that I did or said. Very likely, but I would go into schools and I would teach about abstinence. If you don't know what that is, ask a teacher next to you. And I would teach about how to set goals. I would teach about how to live a lifestyle that was going to benefit you in the long run. And I would talk about everything from drugs to sex before marriage. I would talk about all of these things and just try to set students up to win. It was a lot of fun. And I was the guy that when they would call all the students out of the classroom into the auditorium, I was the guy teaching and trying to just help people in life. So I started with that, and now I'm in ministry, and it's been a lot of fun up to this point. And I learned recently that I've actually got some learning disabilities. And not to dive into all of that, but like I realized that if I would have been willing to ask for help when I was in school, I could have been a better student. I could have been a lot more effective. I finished college with a 3.7 GPA. I did not finish high school with about half of that, okay? And so I'm coming to you today not as an expert, but I just believe the amount of time I have spent with tens of thousands of students over the last 13 years of my life in a classroom, on a field, on a basketball court, in a church setting, and in a teaching setting, just in life. I believe that it can help you. And so let's dive straight into this. Let's learn how to win. So for me personally, I have always loved investing, okay? Maybe you like to invest in just different stocks, whatever it may be. I've always loved to take little and get more out of it. My mom would give us an allowance, okay? If you used to get an allowance, just nod. If you're in a room of people, y'all talk amongst yourselves. Did you get an allowance? Did you even do your chores? Okay, like we had chores. My brother Ricky and I had chores. My mom would give us $10 every week if we did our chores. I would go to Sam's. My mom would take me, and I was in middle school. I would buy those big boxes of candy. And I would invest. I would get 30 candy bars, 30 Skittles, all this stuff. And I would go to school and I would sell it. Some would say I was a modern day hustler, okay? But I would take little and try to get more out of it. And eventually I carried 2 backpacks to school. This is before we had to have all the clear backpacks, and I had a candy bag, okay? I was the candy man, all right? It's another way you can remember me. And I would go into my classrooms and sell candy. Y'all, I was making several $100s a week. I got in trouble. I got called to the office, and the lunch ladies, they shut down my whole operation, okay? But what they didn't know is I started selling school supplies, pencils. Everybody needs a pencil. And teachers, the student right now, they don't ever have a pencil. I was their guy, okay? And anyways, I've always loved investing. I've always loved taking a little and making the most out of it. At a very early age, I want you to write this down. I learned that if I could leave something better than I found it, that's places and that's people. If I can leave people better than I found them, if I can lead in a way where I leave a place better than I found it. It doesn't matter if I showed up and there's trash on the ground and I didn't put it there, I'm gonna pick it up. Regardless of the situation someone's going through, I'm going to help them try to get through it and become better in life. What if today you drew a line in the sand as a teacher, as a coach, as an administrator, whatever your role looks like, and you said, you know what, Seth? I'm going to leave everything better than I found it, including the teacher's lounge, okay? Like, you go in the teacher's lounge, and y'all know the teacher that always leaves a mess in there. They always cook nasty stuff in the microwave, and it just smells bad. I want to be the person, no matter what, that I can be known as a person that leaves places and leaves people better than we found them? What if we left our coworkers better than we found them? Today, obviously, the focus is, what if we left students better than we found them? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Well, Seth, we have a lot of students who are a lot like you, right? Me, when I was in school. They love the sports, they love, all this other stuff, they love socializing, but they don't really love to learn. Now, I want to talk about that today because I have learned, it's crazy, the revelation I've got over the last 10 years about helping a student grow and helping an adult grow as well. I believe if I can convince a student to come to something, obviously I'm in a church, I'm not going to go into the spiritual side of this, I'm just going to talk about the mental side of this, the showing someone your attention, being transparent, real, and vulnerable with them. But if I can get a student to come and get out a journal and get out a Bible and bring other people to learn and grow as well, if I can get a room of teachers to get this, it changes everything. 300, 400 students in a gathering that have a journal out. They want to grow. They're not talking to their neighbors. They are locked in. Now, some of y'all are thinking, that's not possible in school. I'm here to tell you that it is. I'm here to tell you that it is. So how do we win in the classroom? One, we have to teach students that they need to take what is in their hand and they need to utilize what's in their hand. They need to take what they have in the current so that they can get what they desire to have in the future. A lot of students give up. A lot of teachers give up. Even the people I'm talking to right now give up on what is in their heart, this dream, this desire, this passion, because it doesn't match what they currently hold in their hand. What they're holding in their hand is a seed. It doesn't look like the tree that's planted in their heart. I think you get where I'm going. A Fortune 500 company doesn't start as a Fortune 500 company. Apple and Exxon and Amazon and Ford and all these things, Tesla, that's crazy. Get into those numbers. It doesn't always look that way. It started somewhere. A house doesn't start as a house. It started as a pile of dirt, a foundation. A tree started as a seed. I think some of you even listening to this right now, this may actually help you more than it will help your students in the future. Because if you can help them realize what you realize today, some of you are dreaming about something that you just know that you are called to do in the future, that you feel led to do something amazing. And it's like, well, right now, this just doesn't really look like that thing. Can I tell you that you've got exactly what you need today? There's a seed in your hand. There's something in front of you. And I believe if we utilize and we invest and we acknowledge and we recognize that this is all I need right now, I'm going to steward it well. And if I make the most out of what I've been given, I think that I will be given more. I think a lot of people, they have a vision for what they want their classroom to look like, what they want their school to look like, what they want their family to look like. And they never get to that place of actually stepping into the change because it's like they take it for granted, the thing that they have in their hand. I wrote this down. There's 3 things you can do with time. And there's 3 things you could do with life. One is you can waste it. 2 is you can spend it, right? It's pretty simple. 3, you could invest it. What would it look like if every teacher in the U.S., every teacher across the world, every teacher watching this right now, if you made a point today to say, every bit of my time, I'm going to invest it. I'm going to stop mindlessly scrolling through stuff during a classroom. I'm going to stop just showing up and just being here, just being present, just occupying a seat, just going with the flow. I'm just going to do enough to get by. I'm going to clock out early. I'm going to leave right when I have to, whatever it may be. What would it look like if we said, no. I have 200, 300, 400, 500, however many students you have, 50, 10, whatever it is. These people are the future. They're the future of the world. Like, if I invest my time, if I plant my feet and I say I'm gonna help make a change in their life, or if you will, I'm gonna help them win in life. I'm gonna help them win in school. I think that a lot can change. I wrote this down that if you want to win in the classroom, you have to have a great system in place. And all the teachers said amen, okay? If you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants, my grandma always used to say that. I really don't even know what that means, but I think it means that you just kind of wing it, all right? Everybody else sees that as well. Like, they recognize you don't have a strong lesson plan, you don't have a curriculum, you don't have a goal in mind. And if you don't have that, if you don't have a system in place, we'll end up just doing whatever, whenever, and it's not good. So this is what I know. I meet a lot of people who have the same goals. I meet a lot of people who have the same education, some even more, and they, at the end of the day, somehow, some way, they have different results. So we have two of the same types of people, two of the same types of goals, two of the same types of education. They have different results. Why? Because of their systems that they have in place. I love to read. I try to read about 30 to 40 books a year. I love podcasts. I love going to YouTube and learning random things. If you're with me, give me a little wave, okay? I can't see you, but I wish I could. I think that systems are so vital. I just think that if you want to have different results than everybody else around you, you need to have a different system. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, which if you have not read Atomic Habits, I highly recommend you to read Atomic Habits. It's a game changer. James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. So put that into an administrator's perspective. Your school doesn't rise to the level of the goals that you set for the school. It rises and it falls to the level of your system. So if you have a bad system in place of how you communicate to your teachers, how you communicate to your parents and your students, and the systems you have in place for your lesson plan, the system you have in place for the way you wake up in the morning, okay? This is a cup of coffee, okay? It's still kind of steaming. Sorry if you heard me slurp through the camera. When I wake up in the morning, it is a part of my system and my daily routine that I drink some of this, okay? I am almost a worthless human being without it. I'm kidding, kind of, but it's part of my system. I get up, I try to drink 32 ounces of water, and then I drink a cup of coffee. I spend some time reading and growing and learning. I'm a pastor. I spend time praying. I spend time thinking about my family. I have a system in place. I have an agenda that I have written out days before of what I know I need to accomplish for the day. I do not let my day happen to me. I happen to my day. And I believe that if we have a mentality, we draw a line in the sand and we say, I want to be a better, not just a better teacher, I want to be a better leader. What would it look like in a school if every teacher watching this right now had an excellent system in place for their classroom, their personal growth, for their families? Because I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but y'all, students are not stupid. Some of you may disagree, but students see everything, especially if you have social media. They're watching the way you live your life. They're watching how you do what you do, when you do it, why you do it, who you do it with, okay? They're watching all of that. And I just think if we have a system in place, to win, we will win. I wrote this down. Systems create behaviors. Behaviors become habits. Habits drive outcomes. A lot of people in life, I got to get closer to the camera. A lot of people in life, they want different outcomes, but they're not willing to do anything different than everybody else. I've met a lot of teachers in my life, hundreds of teachers actually, faculty, just all kinds of administrators and principals and the leaders of the leaders of the leaders. Listen, someone who's going to win and make a difference and change other people's lives, they cannot go through the rhythm of just what everybody else does. That may be the most important thing you hear today. And this isn't groundbreaking stuff. I just want to remind you, because I think we often forget, It is the small things that no one sees that creates the big results that everyone wants. I'm going to say it again. It is the small things that no one sees that create the big results that everyone wants. Everyone has a system in life. If it's wake up, get dressed, check your phone, rush to class, you spilt your coffee in the car, right? Come home, eat. I didn't eat lunch. I didn't eat breakfast. Now I'm rushing. I'm trying to go to bed. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm surfing through my phone until 1 a.m. and then I get up and I repeat and I repeat and I repeat. Did you know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over in what? Expecting a different result. If you want a different result in your classroom, if you want a different result in your life, ultimately, this can help you in every area. Get a different system. Get a different system. I wrote down your system is either intentional or accidental. Write that down. You can help your students with this. It is either intentional or accidental. It is either created or it is tolerated. Listen. Stop tolerating people in your life that don't bring joy to you, and you may be sitting next to one of them right now. Don't point at them, okay? You don't have to tolerate things. You can be intentional in your life and your outcomes will change. I promise you. Give it a shot. Okay, the next thing I wrote down is a great culture. Okay, this is kind of one of those words that gets thrown around a lot, but let me tell you, you can take a student who is disrespectful, a student who doesn't want to learn. I'm describing myself in high school and junior high, by the way. You can take that person and put them in a classroom that has good culture, a teacher that has good culture, and they will walk out a better person. If you don't believe me, try some of the things I'm about to tell you. A great culture, listen. Culture is one of the most vital things, not only just in ministry, what I do, but it is vital in leadership. It's vital in coaching. It's vital in teaching. It's vital in everything where you're leading people. Culture is the belief, the action, and the attitudes that guide your classroom. I'll make it personal. The belief and the action and the attitudes that guide your life. So some of you are like, wow, I'm teaching the curriculum, I'm doing what I was told, and students don't care about it. They're like, it's like they can't connect. Listen, the culture may be off in your classroom. Okay, and I want to kind of dive into this a little deeper. Culture is this, it's what I do, it's why I do it, and it's how excited I get about doing what I do. Would you believe me if I told you that students sign up to commit 25 volunteer hours every week during the summer? They go to classes outside of school. I could go on and on, but it's going to sound like I'm bragging and patting myself on the back. That's not the case. I just believe that we applied some things that radically changed the way that students walked into a room. There's a culture in place. There's a culture, and it's modeled by every leader in the room. If something is wrong with your classroom, it's either the people, which is possible. Maybe it's the wrong teacher. Maybe it's the wrong student. I don't know. You figure it out. It's either people, systems, or culture. People, systems, or culture. If you're an administrator and you're watching this, if you're like, something's just not right, it's either people, systems, or culture. You can change the culture, you can change the systems, but did you know it's kind of hard to change the people? It's really hard for people to realize that I need to change, and then most of the time, those people end up having to find other things to do in life, and we call that getting fired, okay? Or asked to go somewhere else. I think in a culture that is successful, if you have a culture in a classroom or any environment where someone says, you know what, it's not about me, life's not about me. I know y'all think that's crazy and that's not possible. It's possible. But you have to model it first, okay? So I tell our leaders this all the time. I've been blessed with an opportunity to lead hundreds of leaders across the state of Arkansas when it comes to ministry, student ministry, college ministry. And I tell them this, stop saying people won't do this and start saying I have not led them to do so. Okay, some of y'all, that may make you mad because this is a personal thing. Stop saying people will not do this and start saying I have not led them to do this. It's a leadership issue. Example, Man, college students just won't wake up early for class. Example of this. College students can't take their faith seriously. Man, high school students just don't care about anybody else. They just care about themselves. This is what I have started saying. Let's start saying that they haven't done it yet because I have not led them to do so. Now, you are not responsible for everybody's actions, but you can be responsible for your actions. And I think a culture changes, I think systems change, and I think people change when we start taking ownership for the things that we need to take ownership of. We have to start leading from a place of, you know what, if this thing rests on me, it's going to go the right direction. We're going to reach new goals. We're going to get new places this year in our classrooms. I wrote this down. Culture carriers, they have to be empowered. What does that mean? Find some leaders in your classroom, some students who lead the way. Give them opportunities to lead. Give them opportunities to serve. Get them opportunities to help teach. If it's all about you, I promise you, students are checked out already, okay? Did you know that every person in life has two big desires? I'm not even talking about people in church. I'm talking about in life. It's this. It's they want to be known and they want to make a difference. They want to be known. They want someone to know their name, their story, and they want to make a difference. They want someone to speak to their potential. As a teacher, if you are not helping students identify where they're gifted, where they're strong, where they're weak, get to know their name, get to know their story, get to know their pets' names, you get an opportunity to speak to their potential and their purpose in life. Well, some teachers that I know personally, and I help coach some teachers, and they're like, oh, I was hired to do this. Well, we'll keep just doing that, and then let's just talk about how it goes. Students that want to be in a classroom, I can't wait to go to this class. It's because the teacher has created a culture where people are empowered. People don't just sit in the seats. Like a culture shift, it starts not with the masses. It starts with a few individuals that you've selected and that you've empowered. What does that mean for you in your classroom? I don't know. I'm not in your classroom. But I think that you could get some ideas. How can I empower some students? Man, write down some things of how they can make a difference in your classroom. I just got a text from my wife, by the way, and she sent me a picture. We're 32 weeks pregnant, and she just sent me the ultrasound. This thing's kind of creepy looking, okay? I just had to tell you, that's what I just got. She said that our daughter has my nose, which means it's quite large. Okay, next thing. Culture must be crystal clear. It must be crystal clear. This is the why. This is for me, for the organization that I lead, it's this. It's know God, find freedom, discover your purpose, and make a difference. It's know God, find freedom, discover your purpose, and make a difference. I can't talk about these things without getting passionate and getting excited, and it has to be crystal clear. It has to be crystal clear. It's not about preference, it's about effectiveness. You can't just roll a grenade into a culture and explode the whole thing and expect for it to all change. No, it's little incremental changes at a time. If you started shifting a little bit of culture in your classroom, empower a student in this class. In seventh period, empower that student. Oh, I'm going to tell them, man, they can make a difference. I'm going to actually ask them, hey, why are you always in a bad mood when you come to class? Is there anything I can help you with? Things begin to change. I wrote this down. You have to destroy, some of y'all are going to get way too excited about this, okay? You have to destroy counterculture, okay? You have to destroy it. You have to annihilate it because listen, you're either carrying counterculture you're either carrying culture or you're killing it. I'm going to say it again. Y'all need to write this down for all of your staff. You're either carrying the culture or you are currently killing it. Some of y'all can think about teachers right now. I'm not going to ask you to do that. It's just their counterculture with everything. They do things their own. Y'all listen, it's like they can't get behind where we're going as an organization. I want to just warn you, be careful with that, okay? I wrote down that culture has to be demonstrated, it has to be communicated, and it has to be corrected. Demonstrated, communicated, and corrected. Another way, to demonstrate it, you carry it. To communicate it, it's the vision. When you correct it, this is what I tell people. Hey, that's not who we are. I love that you think you can do that. I'm going to love you, but let me tell you, I'm going to correct you, because if culture is not corrected, then you can end up in a place that's like, how did we get here? And it's not a good place to be. I am a person of conflict, healthy conflict, and I love to go into people that have businesses and people that lead people and do like consulting. Because I'm not afraid to step on some toes. I'm not afraid to talk about the elephant in the room. And this is what I know is true, is that if corrections never happen, like you have bad culture. Like I wrote this down, that if you are afraid of conflict, if you are a teacher, you are an administrator, you're a coach, and you are afraid of conflict and you don't like to correct or whatever, and you have to do it in the right way, but if you're afraid of it, that means that there is bad culture that is present, because the only way that good culture can be present is if you correct the bad culture. Be very careful and make sure you correct bad culture. I wrote down, man, great character. And this is where I really want to land as we get ready to finish this thing up. Great character. Y'all listen, if your life outside of the classroom, I know that you're probably thinking, Seth, that's none of anyone's business. Let me tell you this. I'll ask you a question. Have you ever respected someone that their actions don't line up with their words? The answer is no. Okay, we call those people hypocrites, and y'all, I'm telling you from a place, I'm so messed up, I'm so jacked up, I'm so imperfect. I could list the things out. Like as of today, like I asked my wife for forgiveness about something because I got frustrated, right? Like, but I lead from a place of vulnerability. I lead from a place of like, I don't have this. I started off this whole talk with, we don't have this thing figured out. But if you led that way, students can relate with that. And they want to be a part of that. They feel like things aren't always tense. They can be confident and comfortable in their skin in your classroom. I think that great character is established when your life outside of the classroom matches the things you teach in the classroom. Some of you are like, well, Seth, I teach math. It doesn't matter what I do. I would beg to differ. This is another one of those things my grandma used to say. I don't really know what that means, but I disagree, okay? I disagree. I think that great character is vital. I wrote down a few thoughts about empowerment. When you empower, it means that you transfer power to someone or something to accomplish a goal. I wrote this down. Replace the word leader with teacher, okay? And you'll start identifying some of these for you personally and other people. Insecure leaders or teachers hold on to responsibility. Confident leaders give it away. They give away responsibility. Insecure leaders, I got to stand up because I'm passionate about these. Insecure leaders do not empower because they see everyone else as competition. But confident leaders love watching other people win. I love watching other people win. And so they empower. Y'all listen, insecure leaders feel threatened by the success of other people. Confident leaders feel threatened when they are the only ones leading. Okay? I get nervous when I look around and I'm the only one leading. That's not a good sign of a leader. You can tell the strength of a leader by looking at the people around them, who is following them. If you're just going and you're walking and you turn around and no one is following you, you are not leading. You are going on a walk. And it is very dangerous to be in front of young people and think that we are leading and think that we are teaching and think that they are coming with us, but we are just going on a walk. That's a scary place to be. I'm just saying, think about these things. Empowerment, man, it's important. We have to be confident and not insecure leaders. Insecure leaders desire credit and recognition. It's all about me, but confident leaders, this is what confident leaders do. They tear down their own platform and they let other people stand on it so that they could be noticed instead. Empowerment requires trust. If you want to change your classroom, obviously all the things I talked about, people, the systems, the culture, the empowerment, your character, what you do inside and outside the classroom, the way that you trust is important. Empowerment requires trust. It's the only way to know that you can trust someone is to trust them. Well, Seth, I don't want to get let down. Well, in leadership, in leading people, you will be let down. That's what you sign up for, because you believe in other people more than they believe in themselves. And what's happening in a lot of classrooms around the country that I have been in, and even youth groups and other places, like, their leader doesn't believe in them. Their leader just shows up and does the job that they were hired to do. Their leader genuinely doesn't believe that these people can make an impact. I'm not saying that's you. I'm just challenging you to trust until you have a reason not to. And then trust again. Y'all, people will let us down. Trusting people is risky. But I wrote down that not trusting people is even more risky, because then it's all about you. And that's a dangerous place to be in leadership. I wrote down this quote: the only way to develop leaders is to ask them to do something that they've never done before. The reason you are where you are, oh man, I can get so fired up about this. The reason you are where you are today, right now, in this moment, is because someone believed in you. Someone trusted you with something that you probably shouldn't have been trusted with. They empowered you to do something you've never done before. They helped you identify and create systems that would help you become the person you are today. They submerged you in a culture that changed your attitude. It changed the way that you think. It changed the way that you believe in other people. And this is the deal, is that they changed who you are. People. It's all about people, man. Like, we're in this for other people to grow and become something to help other people, helping people win. I heard this from my pastor personally, my leader. Man, he is amazing. He's an amazing leader. He says, man, I can always tell how strong someone is as a leader, as a teacher, as a pastor, not by looking at them, but looking around them. What does that mean? That means the life they live. That means the people that they surround themselves with. That means what they do when no one's looking. Y'all, listen, I wrote this down, and I think this is so true, and it could be said about the classroom as well. The right people are your greatest asset. The wrong people are your greatest liability. And I believe that from the depths of my heart. And I want to end with a story that hopefully will encourage you, but maybe even make you laugh a little bit. When I got married, I was living in Conway, Arkansas. My wife and I had been married for about 5 months, and we were in bed, and just fun fact, before sin entered the world, whatever, people were naked. So just had to throw it out there. I had socks on. And that was it. So we were newly married, and I hope you're laughing. Don't get awkward. Don't get uncomfortable. I embrace these moments. And my wife rolls over. We're talking, and she's like, "Babe, I left my phone charger in the car." And her car was parked out in the driveway, and we lived on a street that it was pretty dark. So I was like, I'll go get it for you. And this is what she said. She said, "I bet that you won't go out there like that." And I was laughing because I was like, you don't know me well enough. And so I hopped up like Superman, don't get a visual. And I was like, I'm going to go get that charger. I was naked. I had socks on. And this was before I was a youth pastor, or pastor, by the way. I was a substitute teacher. Anyways, different topic. So I got up. She's laughing. She goes to the door. She's looking through the window. I open the door. It's pitch black everywhere. The only street light in the entire neighborhood is like right over our house. So like everything was glowing. And if you know anything about white people, in the light, we glow. And so I took off running. I swung open that Altima door. She was parked all the way in the back of the driveway. I don't know why she would do such a thing. And I grabbed the charger. Can I get an amen? Okay. and I slammed the door. But this is the thing, is I heard another door open. I know what you're thinking. Idiot, right? And I had a choice to make. I either hit the ground and try to hide, which is really hard to do when you're kind of glowing, or I run as fast as I possibly can. And that's what I did. I took off running. And I had that phone charger and I was running. My wife was in the window. She was just laughing. She was laughing so hard. And this is what happened is I forgot that there was a step to get into the door. And y'all, the door was shut. I hit the door. I hit the brick wall. I hit the pillar. I hit the concrete. I'm naked, laying on the front porch, bleeding from all the crevices of my body. I got socks on. That was it. And my wife did not help me. I'm laying there, literally crying out loud on the front porch, naked, okay? And I'm nervous. Somebody's looking at me. I'm freaking out. I open the door. I crawl inside. My wife's pouring peroxide on me. I know that's very too much information, but this is what I want to say. We laughed a lot, but when I started thinking about that story, a couple things stood out to me. I know a lot of leaders, I know a lot of young people, I know a lot of teachers, a lot of parents, a lot of families, and this is something that I've learned over the last little bit of time is there are a lot of people that forget to get where you're supposed to go. Put clothes on, okay, that would have changed the whole situation. But to get to where you're supposed to go in life, there's always going to be a step. I tripped over that step and I hit that door and I paid. There was pain involved. Listen, some of you today, you're one step away from this next thing in life that you feel led to do. Now, some of you may be several steps away. If you try to skip those steps, pain will happen. There will be injury involved. But I think if you apply some of these things I talked about today, it can help you win in the classroom. It can help you raise up leaders. It can help you raise up leaders of leaders of leaders. And I believe that they will go out and make a difference. And I believe it from the depths of my heart. And so if there's anything else I can help you with, you can find me personally on social media, Seth Tomboli. Sounds like a pasta, but it's not. On Instagram, on Facebook. Our podcast is Helping You Win Podcast. It's on Facebook and Instagram. You can find it on any podcast platform. And if you have any questions, if there's something I can help you with, I would set up a FaceTime, help identify some potential hurdles to jump over, whatever that may be. I genuinely want to help you win. Thank you guys so much for your time. And my prayer is that some of this would be impactful in your life today. Thank you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. This is the end. We finished it out. You finished strong. You've ran across the tape. You've won the race. We've completed the conference. I'm about to give you a link and a QR code so that you can sign out. You can give your evaluation. It's going to email you a certificate. Unless you give me the wrong email address, then it's not. So make sure your email address is correct. But before we do, I want us to end with this. One final thought. In the chat, give me the thought of what describes to you as a baller teacher. Think of teachers you've had in the past, maybe your fellow coworkers, times that you feel like you've been successful in your classroom. In the chat, tell me what makes someone a baller teacher. What makes someone a baller teacher? Put that in the chat, in your notes. Take that away today. I hope you've gotten some stuff, some mindset, some encouragement as we go forward, and hopefully you're following all of our presenters. Follow them, tell them thank you for what they've done, how they've spent their time trying to pour in to you. So I'm gonna stop talking and then I'm gonna show you how to get your certificate. Thank you guys for coming. The Baller Teacher Conference. We did it, guys. Best conference on the planet with the name Baller in it. Very specific, but also makes it true. All right, thank y'all. Be good, be good. We did it, we did it. We learned something. Did you learn something today? In the chat, I want you to put the thing that you are taking away from today. Put one thing in the chat right now that you have learned or that you have realized or that's reinforced something you think. Put that one that I like to call this the golden nugget. Put the golden nugget from today in the chat. And that way, if somebody's missed it or they checked in, go ahead and you guys can copy paste what other people put. If there's some advice, you can screenshot it. Get this. I want you to throw in the best thing you learned today. It's like a best of highlight reel for your favorite thing that happened during this training. Toss that in the chat right now so we can share and grow together. Okay, we're about to do the evaluation. Before we do, I want to remind you, if you want access to this entire training at any time throughout the year, not just these live broadcasts, you can join the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. Why'd I do this? Hey guys, Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's like Netflix for teachers. Netflix for teachers, because you have resources, you have templates, you have PDs, trainings. It's literally like a library of trainings, and then access to ask questions, to request resources that I build and send out to teachers all around the world. So tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to join the greatest community on the planet. And I'm not biased at all. I mean, all of us, you're on the honor roll. You want to be on the honor roll? Sick. Let's all be on the honor roll. And I'm a dean, so keep me on the dean's list. Hey, that works. Okay. All right. Now it's time for your evaluation. I'd love to get your thoughts on what you thought for this, but also I'm going to send you a certificate saying that you sat through this training. You put in the time. You wanted to learn. You wanted to grow. You wanted to get better. This is going to be a certificate that I'm going to email to you. What I need you to do is I need you to go to the link on the screen, or hover over the QR code with your phone. Get your phone out, hover over it. It's going to ask you a few questions. If you don't get this, it means that you put your email address in wrong. Make sure, please do not rush this. Type your email address in correctly. Please, I'm begging you, because if not, you're going to email me, I never got my certificate. It's because your email address is wrong. Type in your email address correctly, fill it out, fill out your name, make sure you capitalize, make it look good, because it's going to fill into the certificate from this. So I need you to put this in correctly, please. Okay, go there. We're going to walk you through it. Go into this, click on the link, or you can't click on the link because it's on a video. Type in the link on your computer, or type it in on your phone, or whatever device you have. Scan the QR code, fill it out. I'm going to send you a certificate with a timestamp on it saying what time you ended. You have proof from earlier if you sent in to the other link of what time you started. And then you also got your notes and all the stuff you've learned, your screenshots, all of that to show your administrator or whoever, your spouse. You show your friends, show people on the streets, all the learning that you did. You can frame that certificate. I think we're all getting framed. You get a frame? I'm getting framed. I'm gonna put it up on my shelf. I got too much stuff on my shelf already. So look at this, Lonzo Ball rookie card. If you got any, by the way, you got any basketball cards you want to sell? Hit me up. I've been slightly obsessed with basketball cards, and I apologize for bringing it up. Look at this. This is all Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, I mean, he's the GOAT. Everybody says it. Who's in the chat? Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? I'd love to know. If it was Lonzo Ball, it's quite the coincidence because I had it sitting on my desk. If not, it's probably this guy. Probably this guy right here. See that guy? That's Michael Jordan. No big deal. It's whatever. Don't like to brag about it. I mean, it's not that expensive, that card. But if you got any cards you want to sell, holler at me. I don't know why I said that. I'm just stalling so you guys can fill out your evaluation. All right. Y'all feel good? I'm going to leave this on the screen for you for a little while in case you had to step out for a second. I'm going to leave this up. Thank you again so much for your attention and your time and everything that you put into learning and growing with us today. I'm Tyler. This is Tarver Academy. Let's learn to have fun. See you guys later.